Welcome, 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 YouTube family, TikTok family. Welcome, 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 everyone. Hope everyone is able to see me very well. Welcome, 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 TikTok family, YouTube family. Welcome. For the people that's in our Hoodoo community on Patreon, I posted this in our group because this is a very important topic. We just got through covering rituals in our community and the importance of ritual and why you will hear me say ritual, ritual. Are you doing your rituals? How consistent are you? This is going to make sense too as we go into next month because we're going to be talking about altars, the importance of altars and what's going on at those altars, what should be going on at those altars, helping you understand what altars do. So we'll be going through that next month to give you more insight on that. But for right now, we're going to talk about rituals and why I am saying it is so important. Why you should not sleep on rituals, why you should be consistent in rituals. Okay? We're going to break it down today. So if you're in our Hoodoo community, and I posted, I try to be thorough as possible over there to help you understand your practice, to take all the fluff that you have been hearing on social media, taking here, taking this and taking that, you get the whole deal over there. So you will thoroughly understand why we do rituals and why consistency and rituals are so important. Okay. We just covered a book by what is his name? Maladama Somé. The name of the book is called Rituals. Okay. So you should have gotten um a free ebook on that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, Teresa. I think that was Teresa. Okay, welcome, TikTok family and YouTube family. I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday. You just had a holiday. I hope all of you guys enjoyed your holiday. We're going to talk about rituals. We're going to dive into it, giving people opportunity to come in here and listen to this topic. But before we get started, I wanted to talk about ancestral veneration. I find myself going there. Um, Again, if you're having problems, if you find yourself having problem with spiritual communication, let me break this down to you. You have to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. Okay? And sometimes the ancestors won't answer you right then and there, depending on your divination method or how you're choosing to communicate with them. Sometimes the answer or whatever you're asking them, sometimes the answer will come later on that day. If you're looking for a immediate answer, there needs to be some type of divination you're using, whether it is path working, whether it's a pendulum, whether it is tarot cards. There has to be some sort of divination when we're doing spiritual communication. Okay, path working is one of the beautiful ways to confirm your communication with your ancestors. We have put in there ancestral meditations, and you can also make your own. This is so important because we talk about this. Another book to read on this is Ancestral Medicine, which we have in our community. I've posted it in there maybe 3 or 4 times. Ancestral medicine talk about these cycle pumps. And so when they're talking about these cycle pumps, they're talking about your imagination being able to create a landscape within your inner world to contact your ancestors. Yes, this is very real. Your imagination is the door to the spiritual realm. And I know, and if you're having problems with this, come talk to me about your imagination. Something you think you made up. You come talk to me about it, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Okay? You think you're making stuff up, but that is your door to the spiritual realm. Okay, so if you're struggling with this, um, again, come talk to me because you won't be struggling no more because it is what it is. Okay, you can communicate with your ancestors. No, they're inside of you. What are you talking about? Okay, trust what comes through. And what I realize is you don't trust your intuition, beloved. We got to get you trusting in yourself, trusting that you have the ability to do it because you do. Hi, Gerald. You have the ability to do that. That's a lot what's going on here. Sometimes we don't realize, our own power. If other people can see it and we don't see it. Yes, thank you. You can tune in to them. Just listen. Yes, but you got to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. You got to do it, beloved. You have to. And then when the message comes through, that's what it is. Don't try to make it something else. That's what they provided for you. That's the guidance they gave you, and move forward on it. Okay? But if you're having trouble with that, we have so many resources there. Spiritual communication. We talked about how they communicate. We talked about path working. I've given you plenty examples of spirit. It's not going to look like what you see on the TV. So get that out of your head. Even these people, when they come here and they sensationalize something, spirit speaks subtle, but it is profound because you can't dismiss the guidance when they give it to you because you know it's right. It ain't gonna be like you see on Exorcist or whatever this Hollywood stuff. You think it's gonna look like. It's not gonna look like that. So get that out of your head, okay? It's not gonna be frightening or spooky as you think. Then they do it real time, like this is it. Yeah, this is it, dear. Yeah, just that simple. It be so simple, but you can't dismiss it because it's profound. Okay, it's going to be subtle, but it's going to be profound. But you can't dismiss it because it's going to be right in your face. All right, divination is a great way to do that. Path working, test the theory. That's why I want you to get in path working. When you get your altar set up, this how it should be. I'm gonna go over this with you. I'm gonna drop some gems on you, and you probably gonna not gonna even know I'm dropping them on you when it comes to ancestor veneration. When you put your food out on your altar, I need to already uh put again. Make sure you're gonna have 20 or 30 minutes apart. 20, 30 minutes with them. You're gonna put your food out there, light your candles, all that good stuff. Then you're gonna sit at that altar, you're gonna close your eyes and you're gonna meditate. You're gonna go to the ancestral realm. Again, there's path work in there. And you're gonna wait and listen to what you imagine your ancestors would be saying to you. And that's what they're saying. You're tapping into your imagination when you imagine. Tapping into your intuition when you imagine what they would say to you. You be having the right answers, but you just don't trust yourself. Hi, Kosan K. And then after you leave out that meditation and you feel like you've made a connection with your ancestors, you will feel something. So pay attention to your body, how your body feels when you're communicating with your ancestors. How does the answers feel? You can even ask your ancestors, well, please give me a sign in my body, tap my body in some type of way, give me a sign when you're with me. And they will, again, give your body, certain parts of your body, a sensation to let you know when they're communicating with you. Oh yeah, baby, you got to sit down and do the work. I don't know what you thought this was. Okay, so you sit down and you listen. Sometimes things you might pick up some things through path working and it'll be strong, and sometimes it won't be. That's why when you come out of your meditation, you do your divination to get more clarity on the meditation and the guidance that you were receiving again in your path working. It all works together. Got to see, you got to get that inner world together because that's where the magic is. That's where the ancestors are on the inside of you. So that's why you going on the inside. See, stop looking at people that's messing you up. I'm telling you right now, the people messing you up. The answer's in here. I'm telling you the right thing to do. I don't care what you heard, all this. I don't care about these people with all these fancy titles and all this stuff. I don't care about that. I'm telling you from experience. And then I take you right to the resources that can clarify what I'm telling you. Okay, so if you want the real, that you're in the right place. If you want the real authenticity, somebody who's being real with you, someone who's being sincere with you, someone who wants you to see you grow in your practice, you're in the right place. I assure you of this. Is washing your hands with salt bad? I've heard mixed things about it. What are you being led to do? Again, what you're hearing, what your ancestors tell you to do. I don't forget what you heard. What are your ancestors telling you to do? If you feel like you're called to do that, then that's what you're supposed to be doing. Forget what other people said. This is your practice. These are your ancestors. So I got to get you to thinking like that. Some ancestors like salt, some of them don't. I just talked about that the other day. Does it feel right to you? Maybe they got you doing that for some reason. May not know why. Sometimes they have you doing something that you would not know why, and then you find out later why you was doing it. Sometimes it happens that way. They have you doing something you don't have no. Be like, why I'm doing this? Why am I looking at this? You may not know until later why they have you looking at it, why they have you doing it. Okay, if it feels right to you, that's what you're supposed to be doing. I got to get you thinking like that. Okay, stop listening to other people because everybody practice is different. It's not meant to be the same. Everybody magic is different. It's a frequency. It's just like your fingerprint. Okay, everybody magic is a little different. Are we doing the same thing? Absolutely. Will it look the same? Nope. Because everybody artwork don't look the same. Magic is just like art, creativity. So it will not look the same. Okay? And yes, you have the ability to talk to your ancestors. You just got to get the ritual going. You got to be consistent at these rituals and get yourself somewhere and sit down. Be quiet. And then start fixing your life too. Because these ancestors that we're calling on, the most elevated ancestors, they don't like raggedy stuff. I can't say this enough. Some young lady got on here on TikTok talking about you don't go to your ancestors for guidance. I just looked at that child. I said, now I knew you. Now your ancestors told you to sit down and be quiet a long time ago, but you still talking. You still talking because you don't know what you're talking about. Then you're going back and forth with each other with this other person. Sit down and be quiet. Hush your mouth. Now you just being raggedy. Your ancestors just told you to be quiet. Just told you to be quiet. See, that's what I say. Everybody don't need to be doing, to be saying. What you getting into it with somebody for? Because you know, if you know how energy work, you will be sitting down keeping your mouth shut. And that's why I don't come here every day. I don't post every day. Because some people just be running their mouth just to be saying stuff and ain't saying nothing at all. Now, if you ain't got nothing to help these people with, then hush your mouth, get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. And most of the time, the real practitioners, that's what we doing. You don't see us post over here every day. We don't open our mouth not unless we got something to share. Because it ain't gonna matter to a hill of beans. Now you trying to keep up with this thing here, social media. But that's not the purpose. What the ancestors put you here for, they put you here for the community and the people, not to just be running your mouth, don't make no sense. Just to be saying something and be relevant. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But don't be talking about the ancestors like that and twisting stuff because you can't get nowhere and sit down and be quiet. That's what it is. Let's talk about this is all I got to say about that. Talk about having a guy that has a walk measure agua, please. I don't know what that means. Talk about having a guy that has a madre agua, please. I don't know what that means, sweetie. Okay. All right. So we get that together right now. But again, trust your intuition when it comes to your ancestors, because these people, I tell you, people is flawed, baby. And what you trying to do is get good in with these spirits, and then in order to do hoodoo and do magic, you gonna be in contact with a spirit. So if that's not what you want, don't come over here with Miss Penny, because Miss Penny gonna have you doing working with some spirits. You understand me? You're gonna be talking to your ancestors, and you're gonna be again make it, because that's what you're gonna need on the other side in your work. Okay. If that's not what you want, don't come over here. So what are you talking about? Just join. Okay, a spirit guide that's walked with Mama Wata. A spirit guide that has a walkway. So we're talking about water spirits now. I would inquire you. We have talked about again working with Mama Wata, how to set up tables with her, her rituals, the things that she like, things like that. So I would, I always recommend it if you're in our conjure course that again the way Hoodoo do it, we set up tables and we set up petitions in a traditional way to that deity and start petitioning them to develop a relationship. Again, if they're reaching out to us, that's what we do. And that should clear the lines of communication with the deity when you start spending time with them. Okay? That's how that works. But let me get into ritual. I'm off my soapbox about ancestor veneration. But we have you over there in our community. We have extensive information about that, so you will not be confused. And if you get over there and start telling me, Miss Penn, I'm having problem with communication. One of our practitioners, we were in the chat, and the first thing I do is got the prime. I got the prime on her. That's the first thing I do. You start telling me they're not coming. They're not coming. Well, let me ask you this: did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do that? Did you do this? Did you do that? As soon as I ask them that, they'll be like, "Oh man." She came back and said, "Oh my gosh, Miss Penny, I just did the divination, and you are correct. This who came through. Okay, that's trust your intuition. That's what it is, baby. That's what it is. Okay, trust it. That's them. You don't need nobody document it. If you document it and start going back with your stuff, you'll realize, wow, 80 to 85 to 90%, you're going to be right. Okay? And you just start improving your spiritual technology and communication when we document this and do divination. We're improving our communication. We're clearing up things. Hey, Miss Penny and chat. Miss P don't know how appropriate it was, but I felt like I should take some water and the candle down to the mass graves here in Tulsa for these ancestors. If that's what you think you should be doing, baby, do that. I think that's special about remembering those ancestors as well. I would do it if you're being led to do that, then I would do it. I would pour out libations for them. I sure would, sweetie. If that's in your heart, that's a very beautiful, sacred thing to do. So most people ain't even thinking about that. That's why I went down to the mounds and was going down there doing rituals because people weren't even going down there honoring those ancestors like that. Honey, half of them didn't know that was their ancestors. So I just kept going down there serving them and praying with them. Okay. I just kept going to those historical sites because they still need to be tended to spiritually. They still need spiritual maintenance. That's what our ancestors would do if we were in our natural habitat. So, as a spiritualist, if you see that needs to be done, there's no recognition going on. Those ancestors are not being honored in this mass grave, and it's been forgotten. That it's your duty to go there and honor those ancestors and pour out a libation, letting them know they are remembered, they are loved. Okay, we honor them, we acknowledge them. So those are the things that I used to like doing when I went to the mounds down there because I don't think no one of color was putting it together, not many people. Okay. And those mounds are nothing. Some of them served as altars and ceremonial artifacts. So when you're looking at the mounds, you're reaching into a very sacred ritual or doing rituals down there. You're tapping into ancestral power. So I always recommend if you have mounds in your area, it's a beautiful thing to sit there and connect with them because you're standing in the same spot that your ancestors stood in. Ain't that something? And those mounds are so old, they kind of take you back in that time. It's just a beautiful thing. You just have to experience it. Maybe it's just me because I'm nerdy like that. I don't know. Okay. So let's go into ritual because we cover ritual. And I want you guys to understand how important ritual it is. Some of us be sleeping on it and think we don't have to do it. Yes, you absolutely do because it's building up your ashay and it's clearing up your communication. So absolutely ritual is important. Does it have to be a long ritual? No, not all the time. but it needs to be some type of acknowledgement. You do it every day, just like you brush your teeth, put on your shoes, go to work. You do that ritual every day. So again, when we start looking at ritual is too. It's about integrating the again the spiritual world into your life, and we can do this in very subtle, simple ways. It doesn't have to be extravagant. But let me dive into ritual. Ritual is one of the oldest spiritual technologies humans have ever known. It has never been about superstition or performance. It is a precise method of shifting energy, directing intentions, and communicating with the unseen realms. Ritual tells the spirit world what needs to happen. Okay? You got to get somewhere and sit down. It is an energetic operation that opens the way, releases blockages, calls in power, and aligns practitioner with their spiritual destiny. Okay? Hi, Raquel. Hey, Masters of Potion. Okay? The ritual, that's what it's doing. It's opening the way. It's opening the door. So the ritual needs you're initiating the communication. You're telling them, hey, I want communication. I need you to help me here. I need you to help me there. I need the spiritual realm to be present in my life. You have to acknowledge that. Just like when I tell you the angels can't help you if you don't ask. They can't go against your free will. That's why the ancestors got you opening your mouth saying stuff 3 times in most of our work. We open our mouth, what we say at least 3 times. If we really mean it, we say it 7. If we ain't playing with it, we say 9. If we standing on business, we do it for 13 days. But say it 13 times. Okay, that's why we repeat. It's a frequency. Again, your magic, like I said, your own voice saying it with your mouth. It's like a fingerprint. Okay. Every magic that is performed has its own frequency. It has its own vibration coming from each unique individual. I was looking at Terrence Howard talk about other day, um, how we get together and how our DNA tightens to the music. It can heal us, and how surgery is not necessary with the right frequency and vibration. It was just, man, I just loved it. You guys know I'm nerdy. You know I'm nerdy. So I was listening to. I was like, I hope they need to keep this man alive because he is putting stuff together. I hope they don't get rid of him. But he was putting things together, and he was letting you know uh, how that music heal us and how we communicate with our ancestors and each other through music, through our DNA. It becomes a symbiotic thing, and how music heals the body through our DNA. It was a dope discussion. Miss Penny, I heard about rain in Thailand. Glad you are all okay. Yeah, I'm okay. It's been windy and kind of cool here. I didn't think it'd get that cool here. It's like 70 degrees here. But yeah, so that's very important. So every time you're doing ritual, again, you're open up that energetic gateway. And he talked, you got to. I should have posted it here. I should have posted it, but it was interesting to hear him talk about that. Okay, and so every time we're doing ritual too, we're accessing DNA memory. One of the most important truths about ritual is that it bridges the visible invisible world. Humans being human beings live between the two realms, the physical and the spiritual. Ritual creates a doorway so the ancestors, guides, and divine forces can interact with our lives more directly. Without ritual, the connection weakens. Through ritual, the connection becomes vibrant, responsive, and alive. How often are you doing the ritual? Consistency is key here. I'm going to keep saying that. This ain't no fly by thing. No, 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 no. Are you getting up in the morning just pouring a libation, saying, thank you, I need help here, ancestors? What are you doing? Are you putting out coffee every morning? Just to acknowledge them, hey, ancestors, thank you for this day. Blase, blase, blase. What days are you sitting out to have a full conversation with them at least once a week? there should be at least 15 to 20 minutes sitting at that altar doing some type of meditation, divination, and communication. This has improved your psychic abilities and your communication with your ancestors. I can imagine our descendants pouring libations over graves of our past lives. He right about George Clinton said something similar. His song along ago about music healing frequency. It is. Okay, when we play music too, uh, and I'm a practitioner like that. Even though I'm not Christian, I still play the gospel music because the gospel music still has high frequencies and help us again link us with those high vibrational ancestors. The frequency is still in the music; it doesn't change. So sometimes I listen to gospel music or blues music or jazz music, just any of their music is really going to put you because they set the foundation for all music. Let's just be real. Okay, so music again link us up to our ancestors, and then when we're all together dancing and all that, we all tap into that ancestral frequency. Even when we're doing the same dances and stuff, it's all spiritual. But you won't know that until you get somewhere and sit down and start paying attention to your body and how it responds. Right now, a lot of us are in survival mode. We can't get nowhere and sit down because we too busy working. We think we got to zoom here and go there and do this and do that and all this kind of stuff. Boom, boom, boom. No, you need to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. I'm so sorry that they got you in survival mode. And I know you say, Miss Penny, it's hard, but Miss Penny, I know too. I was the same way. Get somewhere and sit down. I believe in reincarnation. I believe ancestors can reincarnate through the family. I believe in that. Yes, I do. Okay. If family members are coming, bloodline family members are coming to you, you know, you need to be asking them questions. Are they there to help you? Are they there so you can help them? You know, what is the frequency and vibration of their ancestors? Were they healed when they passed over? You know, you can set energetic boundaries. If they were not good ancestors, they were not healed, you can simply send them into the light and let them rest and pray for them. But the idea in hoodoo is we come in contact with our most elevated ancestors. Okay. If, you know, I don't recommend that you work with family members unless they come to you and they initiate that they want to work with you. But usually I don't recommend that until you've done shadow work. So you'll see what wounds that's in your family that you need to heal in yourself. That's what I recommend. Okay, because some of our family members they meant well, but what I've noticed when people get family, people are putting immediate family members on their altar, and what happens, a stagnation happens, and they're confused. They've been trying to do work, but it's not going through. They don't understand what's going on. They Miss Penny, what's not? It's not working. What's happening? And usually, when I start applying and asking questions, and they tell me what's on the altar, what they've been doing, I have them to recalibrate their altar and begin shadow work and cleansing work and protection work before they start messing with any type of hoodoo magic or anything. Okay. Chelsea, he died a month after my dream. I need to, I miss your whole full thing. I can imagine our descendants pouring libation over graves. But I mean, they took care of graves. They took over when there were shallow graves and things like that. When the master, you know, when a enslaved person was unalive like that and was not given a proper burial, our ancestors went out of their way to give them a proper burial and sometimes buried them in front of cedar trees, cypress trees, sycamore trees to remember them because they didn't have any headstone. I think we talked about this in our community. I think this was in the Gullah area. I think in the Gullah area, they started noticing the ancestors too that were lingering by trees. Okay, and they start using these particular trees. They would do either get offerings at those trees or do ceremonies at those particular trees. But they went out of their way to make sure that people had a proper burial. That was a big thing. Burial is a big thing in our spiritual practice. Okay, not forgetting. Again, attending to graves. And I'm gonna go into some a little deeper, and they talk about this in one of our books. But if you go to a graveyard, it's people that do this, and it's strange. It may seem strange to you, but no, most people that has perfected necromancy, they will go out there and talk to the spirits and make friends with the spirits, take out liquor and food to spirits at the graveyard. Yeah, clean off graves and give out flowers and make friends with spirits. It's people that do that. That's a part of necromancy you have to be very strong to participate in, but it's people that actually do that. They have spirit, and those ancestors at those graves, what happens is now they have another uh ally of ancestors by going to those graves. So now those spirits at that grave are now their ancestors because they went out there and made friends with them and gave them food. And yeah, it's people that do that. It's not a popular topic, but there's people that has a gift to do that, that work with spirits, especially if they, work with Baron Samedi, Mama Bridget, of that nature. They are really on. They work really deeply with the ancestors. That's a part of them waters. You'd have done some deep waters to go in, but this people can do that. When you start thinking about ancestor veneration, I know you're thinking just about your family, but the people that don't forget the dead and tend to the dead in general, these people have the power to collect again, work with a variety of ancestors. I don't know if that made sense to you, but you go deeper into that. So I say you have to go deeper with that. You got some people that work with ancestors and never conjure because they work with spirits. They just know how to work with spirits. Okay, that's they spirits on another different type of level. I used to leave liquor at the graveyard. Okay, in Germany, many graveyards are used like parks. I had one beside my apartment that had a playground for it in it. Okay, so again, that ancestral veneration can go really, really deep. It can go as deep as you want it to go. It's some people because you got to remember that some people, family members have left them. They haven't went to their grave, put no food on there, gave them liquor or anything like that. Their own family have just forgotten about them. And so you go to some of them graves and you start making friends with them. They'll adopt you. You just made a friend with the spirit. You know what I'm saying? And some practitioners, there a lot of them is not going to talk about this for you. It's taboo to even talk about. It's taboo to even talk about, but you got people like that that can do that. So when you think of ancestors, you probably need to open your mind a little bit more wider. You know what I'm saying? Go to read our book, Ancestral Medicine. Read these ancestors' book. Because out of each of them, they'll have the same thing. But what I've learned about, because that's this my thing. I know this. I know this like a hey, I know what I'm talking about when I talk about ancestors. When you read these books again, you're going to find out they're going to give you some extra information on ancestral veneration that you didn't know, something that wasn't in the other book. That's why I love reading a variety of informations on ancestors because that's a global practice. We're not talking about religion. We're talking about people's, relationship with their ancestors. Okay. And so I love reading people's different experiences and um their concept of the cosmic order of ancestors, so to speak. Okay. So you'll see a variety of books over there like that. You're going to see a lot of book on ancestors over there in spiritual communication. What book would you recommend just to start growing this knowledge. I would it's that's my go-to is ancestral medicine. Uh man, it's so many of them. Ancestral medicine, I would recommend that because that's where some healing can start and it gives you a greater understanding of ancestral veneration. So that's the one I would start with. Okay. So if ancestors, it goes very wide. You think it's just that, but no, it's people that adopt to ancestors. It's ancestors, That's why you have Baron, Samity, and Mama Bridget. They're over the graveyard, right? All the graveyards, right? Any graveyard you go through, you're gonna get that energy there. It should be on Amazon. Okay, they're all over the grave. You tap into that energy. Worry about going to the graveyard. Tap into those energies. So the energies are already there, and you just got some people. They know how to work with spirits. They know how to befriend spirits. They've been doing it for a long time. Okay, I don't know what you mean by that. What about like stewardship over a place with ancestors' approval? I don't know what that means. What your take on cremation? Do you see downside of it? No, because every ancestor is different. So now I don't see a downside to cremation. It's all depends on how that person want to be. If it's under that person. Now, if that person didn't want to be cremated, then that might be an issue with the person. But if they wanted to do that, I don't see it as a problem. Every ancestors is different. Okay, it's not a one size fit all to this. It's not. It's not. I don't care what people is telling you. Like ancestors have approved you to be almost a caretaker or a specific place or a land. You'll know because you'll be attracted there. You'll go there so often. Like I was doing, I was going to the mounds and doing offerings out there, putting out fruits, vegetables, and flowers, and praying and um, playing singing bowls with them. They might have you doing that for a while. You'll know because you'll be going out there doing rituals and pouring libations and things. The land will be talking to you. The land started talking to me when I went out there. If you're listening, okay, if you're listening, the land gonna talk to you. Nature is gonna talk to you. You're gonna start having some type of experience when you go out there. If you're listening, trust your intuition. Stop looking for other people to validate you and do what you feel on the inside. That'd be most of the problem. We want somebody to, what about this? What if you did this? How did it feel? Did it feel right? Well, that's what you were supposed to do. Okay? Stop it. We look to that's what kind of hangs us up and give people our power because we be looking for other people to validate us. You're following the spirit. The only thing you need to do to validate that is get a divination and ask the spirit for a clear sign that this is what you're supposed to be doing. That's it. Don't get it from no person because people are flawed, baby. I'm gonna keep telling you that. Okay? Even when you think you finna, get focused in on me, no, I'm gonna take you right back to them ancestors and right back on you. We're not doing that. Okay? We've been following people too much. That's the problem. We need to start trusting ourselves. Every time you try to do that, I'm gonna point you right to the direction of you and your ancestors. Because that's what needs to happen. There needs to be some confidence going on and trust in yourself. How do you protect yourself from evil relatives who hex you? I would say you start bathing. You already start bathing and get that Psalms 27, Psalms 23, Psalms 91. I think it's another Psalms like 109. I have to look again. But those are my staples right there. And I would get some baths crunk 3 days in a row. And I put an egg cleansing on top of that. I'll be doing that egg cleansing on top of that and saying some psalms, getting all that stuff up off of me. I'll do it until I feel lighter. That's what I would do. Stop being powerless when you think somebody hits you. Their magic ain't more powerful than your intentions and the Almighty God and your ancestors. Nothing is more powerful than that, than your intentions. Because you're not playing when you getting this up off you. It's gonna move if you want it to move. The only reason Hicks and stuff is gonna work because you weren't consistent with your protection and looking over yourself. That's why you don't need to be ragged out here. Okay, you supposed to be doing that every day. Every day you supposed to be getting up saying something over yourself, some type of meditation or protection, a prayer, a psalm, or something over yourself. Okay, do it until you feel lighter. You're gonna feel lighter. You're not powerless and helpless. You got the power. It's in you. Keep doing the work, Rainbow Forest. Just by you saying that, have you did any work? Have you did any work? Have you done any work to clear that out? Have you done can be consistent at any work to clear that out? How consistent have you been on clearing that out, Rainbow Forest? How consistent have you been? I like doing them on Sunday or Monday. Okay, I would be consistent at that till I feel that it's cleared out. I would be saying the Psalms. I would be saying, and I would be invoking Archangel Michael. So you got there's some saints that get it done. Saint Cyprian is one. Okay, you got so many choices. You're not helpless. You're not powerless. You just got to do some work. You just got work to do now. If you know this, then you know you have work to do. You ain't got no time to be talking to nobody else. We got to get somewhere and sit down and try to get this stuff up off of us and see how we're contributing to it not leaving. We might have to rearrange some stuff in our life. That's the work that might have to be done around that. Okay, so really sit down and think about that. Okay, you're not helpless, but you start doing the work. You start clearing stuff out. You should start to feel better if you mean it and be consistent with it. But have you asked for any spiritual help? Have you been consistent about asking for any type of spiritual help? They can't help if you don't ask. Okay, we have to ask. We have to open our mouth. We have to say it and be consistent and mean it when we say it. Okay, that's the most important thing. So when you're not consistent at your rituals, you're not doing you're weakening again your ashe, um, you're weakening the communication and you're sending a signal to them that you're not interested in communication when you're not being consistent at your rituals. Marianne Williams say, I you want to feel power, use your power. Yes, Miss Penny, did you say that Baron Sammy and Mama Bridget are over all the girls, even in America? That's the understanding that we have, that I've understood, that when you go to these graveyards, these energies are present there. That is the way our ancestors, explained it. That's the way I hope I'm understanding it correctly. Those energies are there in the graveyard. There is a spiritual caretaker over every graveyard. You're going to see that. You know, you're going to see that. It might be called by a different name or whatever, but the energies are going to be there. You'll see that. I noticed the occultism magician books, they warn against trickster spirits and have a element of spookism in it. And what do you think about the trickster spirit posing as an ancestor? Okay, thank you, Kay, for answering that question. I think, let me say this: if you are doing what you are supposed to be doing, and you know what you're calling on your altar, the only way that I say that can happen is if you are trying to manipulate a spirit. Now, what I've also learned about these occultists, because let's go over there. and talk about what Agrippa was talking about when he was talking about working with some of these elementals and how they was tricking him. When they start to misuse a power, or have a get a spirit to do something that they don't want to do, this is when these most of these occultists start having issues, because you can't control the spirit in their way or misuse the elements. And so when they start misusing these elements and things like that, of course these spirits are going to be mischievous. They are well aware of you trying to misuse the energy. That's why I tell you, a lot of these spirits, you cannot go there raggedy, because again, you're going to start having complications, because these elemental spirits don't work like that. Because if you start to misuse them, the energy, again, it's gonna wreak havoc in your work. Now that's what I have to say about that, because they mentioned it a couple of times in these occult books, because they were trying to work. They go and work with the water element, and it works so good and so effectively. So they think, oh, I'm gonna keep working with them. I'm gonna get them to do this and get do that. Well, I told you, if you work with that element too much, it's gonna give you, again, more delusion, illusion. Okay, they be trying to misuse it. And so they start running into problems. But if you're going to work with the elements, it has to be balance in it. It must not be misused. It must have some ethics and morale behind it. And what you'll see with these occultists, this is why they try to water it down. They're using it for the wrong reason already. You know what I'm saying? And that's when they want to start calling the trickster spirit, because it won't let you trick them into doing crazy stuff for you. I hope that made sense. Okay. How can beginners find elders to guide them? Good luck with that. Look into your community. Good luck with that. Most of the elders, they're telling you, but some of y'all don't listen. You going after popular people. You going after people that don't matter to a hill of beans ain't saying nothing. Okay? You going by popularity and costumes and stuff like that. And then when people do tell you the truth and tell you what you have to do, you don't want to hear that. Okay, you probably got elders right there in front of your face and you don't know it. Okay, uh, and right now a lot of elders ain't gonna be coming out here, because I don't blame, because it's a lot of shenanigans. And then when people do tell y'all the truth, you don't want to hear it. You want a shortcut. You want some microwave, and hoodoo is not that. They're explaining this to you like it's magic, but no, it's not. I have to get you to seeing that once I get you to slowing down and looking at the science of it. Okay, how could my relatives hex me with just my picture and hair? That was enough right there. That was enough for them to do whatever they want to do. Okay, they got a tag on you. They got a link into your energy field. So yeah, they can do that. But you can reverse it if you want to. I completely agree. I want to deeply understand runs in my family, but I live far away from them. You have to get some. If you're gonna have to be solitary. See, that's when too you're gonna have to again start trusting the spirit, because you're looking for a person to do it. That's the problem. You're gonna have to get somewhere and sit down and connect with yourself, go back to yourself. It ain't gonna be no person to do it. It ain't gonna be no person to do it. You gotta get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. And start documenting what's coming up for you. Because a lot of it's in DNA memory. And you trying to get somebody else to memorize, tell you something about something going on inside you, how you look. They not inside you. You can only share their experience with them. But ultimately, that's what it's gonna be. And I'm gonna keep pointing that to you every time you get over there with me. You're gonna get somewhere and sit down. You're gonna become that priest. You're gonna get all the answers that you want to, all the answers that you need to get, because you're gonna have to get somewhere and sit down. I know you don't want to hear that, because you want somebody to tell you everything like a microwave, or I don't know what you think, like this is chat GPT. Now your ancestors are not that. You want to know, you have to get somewhere and sit down and start going within and trusting what's coming up, documenting, asking for signs, trusting those signs. This is about your experience. This is what got caught up, and it's not a one size fit all. What happened to me may not happen to you. But one thing that we can agree on, our ancestors is talking to us. It may my experience may not look like yours, but we one thing we can agree on, the spirit is talking to us. We having some type of something is happening over here. That's all you need to understand. Okay? Now nobody you ain't nobody got to validate. You know what happened to you. You know your experience. You know how you felt. That's enough for you to go on a link to go on to work on to build the relationship with your ancestors and some consistency. Stop listening to what everybody else say. It may not look exactly like nobody else say. I mean, what they saying, because it's not. This ain't religion. You got to get your mind out of that. It's spiritual experience. Spiritual. Everybody's spiritual journey is unique to them. What does it mean when your home smells like garbage with no source? Is it a bad entity? I'll get the cleaning that thing up. I get the mopping and doing some prayer work in that house. It's not a good sign. I get something popping off in that house, honey. There be some cleaning pine saw and stuff going on in there. All windows and doors open. Be burning some sandalwood up in there and praying. That's what I would be doing. Okay? Be call on Archangel Michael. And y'all see, the thing is, I have to ask y'all this because see, something like that start happening to me. The first thing I'm doing is calling on Archangel Michael. The first thing I'm doing is getting them scriptures popping in. You ain't got to worry about me. I'm going to war. We're going to battle right now because I know the mighty divine uh uh beings I got around me protecting me. Now I'm not finna lay down on my back. Okay? You should already have that in your mind when something like that pops out. Protection. I already have it popped out because you again, the power will sometimes be in us, but we won't use it. We won't use it, won't do anything. You want spiritual help, but you won't ask the spirit. You won't ask the spirit for help. Make it make sense. You're going to ask a human to ask you with a spirit instead of asking the Almighty, Most High, the archangels, your most beloved elevated ancestor to help you clear that out. Because that's where the help is going to come from. That's what that person is going to do when they come in there. They're going to bring their angels and everything up in there. Okay. Okay, so let's go on. We'll move on. Most of one of the most important truths about ritual is that it bridges the visible and invisible worlds. Human beings live through two realms, the physical and the spiritual. Ritual creates a doorway so the ancestors, guides, and divine forces can interact with our lives more directly. Without ritual, the connection weakens. I just said that. Rituals also clear stagnation and spiritual debris. Throughout daily life, we naturally accumulate emotional heaviness, stress, grief, energetic residue from people, spaces, and experiences. And I hear people say, I didn't want to go to my altar because I was feeling heavy. I was feeling. That's when you go. That's when you find out it really worked. That's when you start calling out power, when you start saying your verse and telling your ancestors what's going on with you. They made me mad. I don't like the way I feel. That's when you start testing if it worked. How do you feel when you leave there? How do you feel when you leave there? Because that's gonna tell you not where how much ashe. And every time you go in there, too, you're building the ashe up on your altar. You're making it stronger and stronger and stronger. You're improving the technology and the spiritual energy of your altar every time you go there. You're giving again your most elevated ancestors, the divine, the permission to shift the energy and come in there and give you guidance and help you. That's what's happening. Yes, that's when you need to go. What you talking about? You need to go when you're feeling raggedy. Don't go out there and start kissing them people out and because you mad and now you know. When you feeling like that, you need to go to that ancestor altar and tell them how regular you feeling, how mad you is. Cause all that, even that's building up ashe at the altar because it's gonna be transmuted. You finna transmute it at the altar. That's when you go there when you pissed. That's when you need to go. That's when you need to go. All right. Not when you feel good. It's there when you feel like crap. That's when you need to go. Tap into these lives more than often. Miss Penny will get you right. Check these Patreon communities out too. It's very informative. Okay. Listen to know that a seeker of no, because he's in our community and believe me, we have so many resources in there. It's going to put you on the right path of hoodoo. We're going to take all that fluff and all that other stuff out of it and get you going on your journey. Okay. So again, when you're not doing that, you know you got debris on you. You know you going around heaviness every day. You need to be going to that altar. You need to be cleansing. Over time, this builds up dull intuition, dim spiritual awareness, and weighs down the heart. Because that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna be start feeling disconnected, walking by the altar. Now I've had people they got the altar, but they walk by the altar. They feeling heavy and everything, confused and everything, but they not stop once and sit at there after 15 to 20 minutes and talk to their ancestors. Oh, it's clean and everything. Oh, it's clean. It's got a beautiful tablecloth on there. It's got clean water, flowers. They light the candles and everything, and then they walk away. How would you like somebody to do you like that? See, I got to get you looking at it from another perspective. You say you want somebody help, you give them everything they need or whatever. And then they get ready to talk to you and you walk off. You just walk off. What signal are you giving? Again, these spirits are watching you, so you're giving them somewhat. Well, damn, she taking care of us, but damn, she don't want to talk to us. What kind of shit is this? She gonna set up the altar and everything, light the candle, light the incense, do all this, but she ain't gonna get nowhere and sit down and listen to what the hell we gotta say. Oh, what kind of shit? Well, how this gonna work? How would you feel? How I'm supposed to talk to her? How we supposed to talk to them and they instead of walking away? This is the signal, even though that's probably not what you mean. That is the signal. That is the language of spirit that they're picking up from you. Does that make sense to you? Did I explain that in a way that it made sense to you? You made sure about being solitary. I just watched it today. Okay, I recommend you be solitary. Uh, have a community. I do agree, have a supporting community, but your work is supposed to be solitary. It's not for everybody. Your path is going to be solitary. Do we have a community over there where you can, the community is for, hey, if I'm having, do I need help with, do you know anything about this? What do you think I could do about this? That's what community is for, to help you improve your work. Okay. We're not here to restrict you in your work or anything like that. It's to improve your work. If you have an issue somewhere and you want to go in the chat and say, hey, I'm doing this. Has anybody done this? What help you? And they may be able to chime in and help you with something. Or I may be able to chime in and help you with something, you know, or help you understand something. That's what your community is for. If you got yourself in the pickle and you need extra help, maybe we can jump in there and try to help you or give you some more insight on what you need to do. That's what community is for. But some of these communities, they come in here and they want to control you. They want to lead you instead of letting the spirit lead you. And I don't approve of that. I got to get you to, again, to developing a relationship with spirits. That's what we're doing. Okay. That's what we're doing. We're talking about rituals now. If you have any questions about rituals, Rainbow Forest, I'll be happy to answer those questions about rituals. If you have anything, any questions about rituals, if you're into this whatsoever, if you're into hoodoo whatsoever, you have any questions about rituals, what we're talking about, then I will answer those questions. Miss Penny empowers you with practice. Okay. That needs to be more empowerment going on and helping you. I agree. I think it needs to be more empowerment going on with your practice, because what I find, that's what most people need. Most people doing something right, okay? They just need empowerment and encouragement to keep on doing it, okay? Until they get results. And that's what hoodoo is about. You think this is going to work overnight? No, magic is not about what you see on TV. It just magically happened. No, okay. It's about being consistent in the ritual, and then you'll see results. And when it happens, most people, when it does happen, and it will happen, you might contact me, and it always happens that way. You will explain to me everything that happened and how it happened. And most time people say, Miss Penny, is this magic? They always ask that question. And I'm baffled too, because the way they explain it. And I'm saying, I don't know, baby. That's what they say it is. That's what they say it is. But you just did that for yourself. Did that feel like magic to you? Because I know you did some work. You were getting up in the morning. You were saying those verses. You were consistent. You were really accessing your ashe and your emotional energy. Did that feel like magic to you? This feel more like transmutation. It still work, okay? Ain't nobody doing nothing. I'm telling you now. Ain't nobody. People is out here working this magic. Ain't nobody doing no bad magic. People are working the magic. Do you understand me? This is work. This is a science. I always asking that. Hi, Ocean Yimmy. Okay, this is work. You'll start to see it once you start putting it in. That's why when people explain it like that, like magic, I'm like, something is wrong with you. You don't understand what you're saying. You don't understand the science. It's more than that. I mean, we're tapping into ancestral frequencies. We're talking, we're dealing with elemental spirits here. It's just so much going on there. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're saying. Maybe you don't understand what you're saying. Maybe you don't understand how it works. Okay. But over there, you're going to see how it works. When you sit down and slow down. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to get TikTok together here. When you slow down and start healing, you will see it for yourself. But the healing has to happen. There needs to be, the alchemy begins when you start to heal yourself. Your inner world has to be built. If you want the outer world, you want to see magic in your life, then you better create a magical world inside yourself so you can see it on the outside. Because you steady looking on the outside to be magical, ain't nothing magical inside of you. You still got wounds and raggedy stuff on the inside of you, but you want to experience something beautiful. Good luck with that, because you're gonna keep on experiencing raggedy, ugly stuff. If you ragged and ugly on the inside, because that's your inner world, that's what you're gonna experience. Ain't nobody gonna tell you that. They got you thinking that, oh, you can do this and it'll do like that. No. If you're not, your mind, your world, your mind is not in alignment with it. Your mind and emotions is not uh, you know, controlled. Your nervous system is not regulated. You won't It'll be difficult for you to hit certain frequencies without some type of help. A help from a saint, from an elevated ancestors, or an archangel of some kind. Sometimes that happens, but you're gonna be working with a spirit. And I have to slow you down and get you to understand that. We need to get you back in your energy field, get you back in your body, get to you feeling. Because right now, a lot of you, your magic is probably not going the way you want it to, because you're stuck in survival mode, and you're thinking about the magic, but you're not feeling the magic. And you won't know that till I slow you down and you start doing some breath work and getting back into your body and exploring your inner worlds. That's some of what a lot of you guys are missing. Okay, you're right. You're so right. Stuck in the desensitization. Okay, that's what's going on. Your nervous system is shot to hell. They know exactly what they're doing. Don't get me mad about that because I get on my soapbox about that. How they intentionally keeping you in survival mode. I do not. That right there doesn't make me happy at all. And that's part of what's cutting people off. And then you come here and you think. Then you got these people wearing costumes too. You gotta, we're going through that book again. We're doing another book, and I'm probably gonna do another book review on it. I did the book review on it before. You have to understand that these spirits are speaking through people. People that can come here and always got just want to be talking. And these most manipulators are good talkers. Let me say it like that. Car salesmen, they're good because they're good talkers. They can sell you a lemon car and you not even know it because why? Because they were a good talker. Salespeople are good salespeople. You got people, they're good salespeople because they're good talkers. They probably don't even stand behind the product, but because they can give you a good presentation, they got good presentation, it makes you want to buy it. Most spiritualists and people like that is sincere, they are not good salespeople at all. No, they're not good salespeople. They're not good yappers. They don't know how to they're not good at like a presentation that'll make you. They're not good actors. You got some people that's good actors. You have that on here now. They'll tell you meet these folks in real life. No, I'm not really like that. I'm just like that on TikTok. But they gave you a full, a full personality that you believe that is them, and that's not even them people. And then when people are authenticity, uh, I just noticed that because the more spiritual you become, you see how many people who are asleep. You see how many people that's easily influenced that they have no control of their thoughts or anything. It's kind of scary when you wake up because you be like, damn, I'm around all these damn sleep people. Like they just do and follow, and they have no thought, no independent thought. I jump in the river, they jump in the river, I'm gonna jump in the river too. They doing this, I'm gonna do that too. They get on this train, I'm gonna get on this. There's no independent thought. Okay. So, and especially when you get over here in this practice with me, you're going to get independent thought. I got to get you to do an independent thought. I got to get you, and I want you to see it when it happens because you'll constantly be trying to ask me the codependency. You'll constantly keep reaching for me, and I have to get you to stop doing that because the answer's in you. I have to get you to seeing that. You won't see it until you start healing. Ain't your fault. I'm not saying it's your fault, but I got to get you to seeing that your mind is sick. They've been poisoning your mind with all this stuff. You're not going to see it till I get you to slow down and get you to looking on the inside and trusting you. Okay? These are the people that are always looking on the outside. They always looking for somebody to give them an answer. No, 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 no. I need you to go on the inside because that's where the answer is. Stop doing that. Okay? I have to get you to doing that because they done told you you ain't got the answer, and that's part of the sickness. But you don't know you sick, baby. It ain't your fault. Okay? Sometimes I was sick too. And then when I started pulling this stuff back and looking at myself, I said, "Oh my God!" I cried like a baby. I said, "Oh my God, oh my God, my mind was so sick. You don't even know you're sick when you sick. Oh my God, because you walk around in the fog and they didn't normalize sickness." I cried like a baby. I cried. I said, "Damn." It's a such thing. You can be crazy and not even know it. You can be out your damn mind and not even know it. It's a possibility. You won't see that until you start healing and you really start to come woke, real woke, and you start looking at people totally different than sleep. Okay, you don't even know you've been on a mass hypnosis. You don't even know you've been under mass hypnosis until you start pulling back those programs. and pulling again, because your mind, you start reprogramming your mind and seeing how hard it is to reprogram it. Okay, and how much you addicted to excitement and drama, because they have us addicted to excitement, drama, and gossip, and that right there is leaks a lot of our good energy. I had somebody, what's the man name, Elder or something, he was on here. He said, I haven't been on social media. I forgot his name, Elder Ridge. I forgot his name. He on TikTok. I hadn't seen him come down my timeline in a while. But he said he hadn't been on TikTok for a minute. He said, "You know, this thing is harvesting your energy." He got talking about the complications that he was having on the app, and you know how it drained his energy, how he had to get off of here, and he really noticed a difference in his energy. And I just started laughing. I said, "I'll be glad when people realize this, because they are harvesting. A lot of them are harvesting. Social media have mastered the art of harvesting energy through social media. They have mastered the art of that. And you're not going to know it until you start pulling yourself back from this and going a day or two without it and seeing a difference in your energy. It does you good to, to really watch your energy and what you're focusing on, because you again pay attention to yourself. Steals your attention span, the ability to sit still. I had to reprogram myself. It does. You got to slow down, because when you start slowing down, that's when things start to work for you. It's almost like you leave that other dimension, but they call it, we're going to get into that in a minute. It's almost like a quantum leap. People talk about quantum leaping. You go out of that you got other people caught up in that. It's like you watching them stuck in this right here, but you didn't need a quantum leap. You're in a whole different sphere when you start getting your rituals and everything in control, getting your mind in control and everything. You'll watch other people panicking and all that, but you're in a different sphere. It's hard to explain until you start slowing down, and you'll see that time start warping. It'll start working for you. You be like, "Damn, it's working for me." You know, I thought I didn't have time to slow down and do my rituals and all that, but I'm finding out I got time, and then I got extra time to do what I need to do, and I feel better. Okay, so it's fooling you. Okay, whatever that dimension, whatever that bubble is, that survival thing that is it'll fool you to make you think you ain't got time. And it works through your survival. You caught up in that again, the survival mode, the more control it has over you. And you're thinking, and you lose your control. When you get your control back, that's when things start working for you. I hope that made sense. I'm addicted to not giving away my energy. I know that's right, Kosan. I'm addicted to that too. Okay, so again, doing the rituals removes energy. This is why people feel lighter, clearer, and more grounded after prayer, cleansing, and or altar work. Ritual allows the spirit to breathe again. So you're refreshing yourself, you're renewing yourself, you're reconnecting yourself, you're recharging yourself. And if you're going to be giving the offerings, you're going to give offering there, you're putting food there, go ahead and do a meditation sitting with your ancestors. Go within and start building that inner world. Make it up. You can make that world look any kind of way you want to. Do you want to talk to galactic ancestors? Well, go talk to ancestors from outer space. Do you want to talk to ancestors, that you ain't met before? Well, travel through past and talk to them ancestors. Your mind can do that. Set intentions. You want to see some ancestors. Start saying, hey, I want to see some ancestors. Watch their pictures pop up in your head. Write it down. Create some artwork. Again, we're testing our intuition. You'll be surprised how accurate it becomes. You'll be so accurate it'll scare the hell out you. But I got to get you to going in that inner world, and it will eventually cause you to have an autoimmune disease. I don't know where that come from. I think they're talking about too much social media. Okay, but you got to slow down. Ain't gonna be from following nobody and listen to them tell you how it's gonna be. Because what worked for them or spiritual communication is not a one size fit all. You got some people that feel a presence, they feel this energy. I get that a lot of people, they feel something. You get some people that's clairaudient that can hear something. Okay. You got some people who can smell something. Okay, you got some people that can see, they're clairvoyant, they can see in their mind's eye. They can see. Okay, so it's a variety of ways where ancestors will communicate with you. You might go outside and they might send an owl or a hawk or eagle to you. They might want to communicate with you through a spirit animal. They might send a cat, a dog, you just don't know. So their communication is not a one size fit all. You can even tell them, ancestors, can you show me a physical sign? This is your communication. Stop listening to other people. Educate yourself. Get your face in the book, because once you start reading these books, I had to understand this. Once I start reading these books, what ancestors start doing is start pulling information from my memory to talk to me. Words that I didn't have in my vocabulary to have a conversation with them. Now that I read this information, was able to update my memory bank. Now they can have more conversations with me about spiritual topics, and it made more sense because now I had educated myself and uploaded new information that they can grab from, that I had read and have conversations with me. But if I didn't have the language in there and I didn't have the study, I had not been expanding my consciousness. Again, trying to understand the concepts, they would not have been able to have a conversation with me. So sometimes they want to have conversation with you because you're too busy listening to everybody else and not sitting down somewhere reading, because reading again opens the mind to unseen communication, because most of these spirits are going to be talking to you telepathically. It might be your voice. It might sound like another voice. You say you want to know. You say you want to know. I'm telling you the truth. With no lies, no Vaseline, none of that. No fluff, no none of that. This is the raw truth, whether you want to accept that or not. I do apologize that it has been presented to you in a way that's sensationalized, but it is not that way. And if you want to get in contact with high vibrational frequencies and spirits, you are going to have to clean out your thoughts, because these intelligences, this energy relies in higher thinking. You cannot be doing raggedy stuff, being petty, and all that stuff, and think you want some good to happen in your life. But you have no compassion, you have no kindness, you have no patience. You're revengeful. There's a difference between justice and revenge. Justice is when somebody injured us. Revenge is egotistical. You understand me? So you know the difference, what it is. And everybody ain't got no hex on you. Some of us is crossing it up because we have made it normalized to say one thing and do another. We think by pretending to do it, that makes it done, and that's not it. Some of us have crossed ourselves up with our own words and thinking. Ain't nobody did nothing to you. You just won't get somewhere and sit down and stop being raggedy. You won't get somewhere and sit down and stop capping and pretending. That's what be going on most of the time. Ain't nobody putting nothing on you. Okay? Another powerful aspect of ritual is its ability to awaken ancestral memory. Our bloodline carry wisdom, gifts, intuition, spiritual knowledge passed down for generations. Ritual is the key that unlocks the inherited memory. When practitioners engage in ritual consistently, when practitioners engage in ritual consistently, I emphasize, unconscious knowledge begins to rise. Ancestral teachings, intuitive insight, spiritual gifts, and a deeper sense of identity. Ritual reconnects a person to power already living inside them. So, what began to happen to me, this is just my experience, but I remember talking to a practitioner and I was telling her what I was doing. And I was telling her I saw this Doppler's nest on my thing, and I think I'm going to use this in such and such and such and such. Nobody had told me this, but I had saw the Doppler's nest, and instantly, again, it awakened some ancestral memory in me, and I knew what I was going to use it for. And I was telling her about it. She said, "Oh my gosh," she said, "they already been talking to you, telling you how to put things together." And that's what happens. You start sitting out in nature and looking at ants and looking at dirt and stuff, and you'll start thinking to yourself, how can I use that in my work? And you'll start coming, and that's really the ancestors start there teaching you and guiding you. And usually, if you use it in that way, it works too. Okay, but you got to awaken that memory. When we start looking at these books, these conjure books and things like that, we're tapping into ancestral memory. Okay, and you start to go out and look at the elements, look at the water, look at the trees and stuff. You sit there long enough, you're gonna come up with some magic. The ancestors gonna start talking to you. Just sitting in nature. They have you look at that bird right there. You know what we can do with that bird. If you did such and such and such and such with that bird, you'll be able to do this kind of magic. You'd be like, what? Yeah, yeah. Go get that feather over there. You're gonna put that feather. You're gonna use that feather over there in this work right here. That's how they talk to you. They're gonna be showing you stuff other people don't know. Okay? But you gotta get somewhere and sit down. They'll have you doing something with some dirt. You see that dirt right there? You've been passing that dirt every day. Put some of that dirt in that bag and take that and put that over there in that thing. Just what happens when you get somewhere and be quiet. And you'll be putting it together. Again, if you've been doing your study and your reading, you start awakening that up in them, in you. That's why I got to get your face in the book. I got to get your face on you. I got to get your face on you and your ancestors and your face in the book. Okay? Got you looking at resources. I don't want you to listen to nobody else. I need you listening to professionals that's actually in the practice, not no fluff. Okay? And looking at these resources. That's it. And you start putting your stuff together, not nobody else's stuff together, your stuff. Okay? I don't care what you're seeing over here. Okay, so if you're doing, I know if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing because you're gonna be coming to me telling me what you did. You don't come to me asking me nothing. You're gonna be coming telling me, Miss Penny, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do. I can tell if you're comprehending the practice. I can tell when the ancestors working with you and you putting things together because you're gonna come to me and say, Miss Penny, I'm doing this and this and that, and then I'm going on to this right here. I'm like, okay. What do you think about that? I think you're doing it right. Did you do a divination and see if it was okay with your ancestors? They do it that. Oh, it's okay. Well, keep on going because you're going to be telling me. I know the ancestors working with you because you're going to be telling me. Okay, you're not going to be asking me anything, and that's when I know. That's when that gives me an indication. Okay, they're on the right track. Now, what I need to do now is empower them to stay on the right track, so they don't keep doubting themselves. That's what you need. I love it because that lets me know that the faith is building, the trust is building. Okay. It lets me know that you are comprehending things now. You're not looking for answers. You're coming up with your own solutions. And even if it doesn't work, you say, well, Miss Penny, it doesn't work. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's ask our ancestors for guidance on what we should do. Did we ask our ancestors on this? Don't be discouraged on this journey because you are developing, you are mastering self. This is your first time tapping back into your ancestral magic. You are perfecting it. It is a practice. You are still learning, and that's okay. No one that comes at the start out strong all the time. That's okay. There's always options. There's always a way for you to get your work done. But what I've noticed about these working this way with ancestors, they work quicker when you're healing. You accelerate quicker in your magic and things when you're healing. It is a byproduct because when it started happening to me, I was like, "What the hell is happening? What's happening here?" It was like, "That's gonna happen." I said, "What?" Yeah, the more you heal, the better this gonna get. I said, "What?" Yeah, we like that. We like that. The better you get, the better we gonna show you more stuff. I said, "This how this work. This how this work. This how this work." Okay, that's how this gonna work. They don't trust you because you're building your character now. You're healing things. You're showing that you're accountable and you're responsible. So you talking to these spirits now. We ain't talking about no people. These spirits gonna watch you for a long time before they start dropping stuff on you. They want to see that you're sincere. This is totally different from these people that they're people would act like they sincere, but spirits always know. Okay. And you'll see you'll make progress. And sometimes you'll get in some of these covens or some of these houses and they see the sincerity in you and they'll slow you down and gatekeep you. That's why you need to have this up under your belt before you be initiated. I highly recommend go in there with your ancestors with power so can't nobody make a fool out of you. Understand the spiritual realm and the concepts and ritual before you even get yourself over there. Then you get yourself over, I don't recommend it. Being tapping in with my own unique and powerful ancestors guide. Great. Okay. And it ain't supposed to look like nobody else. Everybody is not supposed to be a Ifa priestess. Priestess doesn't mean that you're gonna get some type of accolades in the spiritual realm with these names. I am a licensed metaphysical practitioner, but I don't lead with that. I'm an author, a writer. I don't lead with that because that don't matter to a hill of beans on the spiritual realm. They don't. I did that for me because they had told me to do it without even doing that. But I convinced my ancestors I needed that. They said, "We get it then, because you really don't need it." Okay, the spirits don't need no titles to work with you. I don't know. You're gonna learn it once you start working with your ancestors. I got to get you to see it. Okay. And if that's what they want you to do, is to be initiated in the ATR, believe me, they will take you over there. You won't be having a big nobody and all this kind of stuff and looking for a leader and all this stuff. They gonna put you over there. Believe me when I tell you this. But get the relationship with them first before you start going up. Because you might not need to go over there. They might be able to teach you what you want to know without you going over there. But you ain't gonna know that if you going over there to find them and they already in you. This is the craziest part. You got to remember that the same spirits that they have in Ifa, the same spirits they got that in Voodoo, these are ancestors. These are ancestors. They're gonna tell you that what they can call. Before they were deities or energies like they were ancestors. Let's just keep it real. Ain't nothing shaking and moving without them. So you might as well go and do the work and start doing the character work and get that together before you even start running yourself over there. I'm telling you the truth. Now they trying to get you in there because it's a religion. They trying to get you initiated and stuff. You get over there, you gonna say Miss Penny didn't lie. These people got me sitting down somewhere being quiet. I can't do this. I can't do that. I got to do this. So you might as well gain you some discipline and some healing and things over here with your ancestors before you jump over there. Okay? And the initiation really gonna start when you start communicating with your ancestors. It ain't with somebody giving you a title and you pay thousands of dollars. No, it's when them spirits roll up on you and start talking to you. What your ancestors are wanting you to do. Do your ancestors want an ancestor stick? If that's something you want beautiful, you want to do with your ancestors, they love when we make stuff for them. They love that. They love when we put extra stuff on the altar and flowers and stuff and make it real pretty. You'll feel it because you'll feel really heart centered when you feel it. It'll make you so sentimental. So they love when we make things and things like that. Bring our artistic abilities. They like when we dance and things like that. They love that. Okay, they love when we sing to them. They love when we pray for them. They love to be remembered. Okay. To strengthen my relationship with my ancestors, do I sit before the altar or do I speak to them? I would do both. It all comes together. You can speak to them in the word and pour libations, but when you go to the altar, yeah, you need to be open your mouth talking. You need to be talking to them. Okay. And then be quiet and listen. What comes up in your mind? What pictures pop up? What words are repeating in your mind? What thoughts, what memories are coming up? Document it because it could be them trying to talk to you. Okay? You have the most consistent speaker on ancestors. I'm starting to see it more now, but not like you. Okay? You have the most consistent speaker on ancestors. Okay? So again, I don't care about you going over there. I'm gonna be initiated in voodoo. You still with the ancestors. I'm gonna be initiating the Ifa. You still the ancestors. Either way it go. Either way it go. They call them by names because they have elevated them to saint-like deified statuses, but they still started out as ancestors. That's why I can stand firm and strong on the ancestors. That's why I ain't running over there to get no religion because the ancestors have already explained this to me. Okay. I've had them try to get in my box and try to get me initiated. And I said no, because that's not what my ancestors told me. And stop trying to uh, commercialize Ifa like that. It's not a prosperity religion. Y'all trying to make it a prosperity religion like the Christians. You're ruining it. Stop it. Get out of my box. When my ancestors want me to get over there, I'll go over there very proudly, but they ain't said that. Okay? You are trying to solicit to me. Please don't solicit something so beautiful. Don't do that. Okay? It's a beautiful thing. Pray for me. Okay? Give me some prayers to say for my ancestors, because y'all got some fire prayers. That's what you supposed to be doing for me. Praying for me. Okay? Send me some prayers. Don't initiate me. And send me some prayers. Okay? Lift me up in prayer. Y'all got some 5 prayers over there. Get the right buffalo on, honey. He can move some mountains with his mouth. Okay? But don't initiate me. I don't want that. Send me some prayers. Your prayers is good enough without the initiation. That's what they supposed to be doing is praying for you. And then believe me, they are effective. Don't think them prayers ain't effective, honey. The one I had praying for me, honey, had a fire mouth. Okay? That's some of the things they learn how to do. First thing they learn how to do is pray, and they are very good at it. That's what they supposed to be doing. But they also know too that the ancestors is first. Okay, they're supposed to be explaining it to you. If they ain't explaining it to you, I don't know what to tell you, because you ain't supposed to be initiated. I'm supposed to be trying to get us right with our ancestors, because they know that's where our biggest wound is our shadow work and getting right with our ancestors. Ain't no sense in going over there to Ifa and got that right. Okay, a lot of healing and stuff need to go on. I'm not lying to you. I wouldn't make this up, and I do apologize. These folks trying to solicit it to you like that, they not supposed to be doing that. Okay, your ancestors supposed to be dragging you over there in that. You wouldn't even have to worry about it. It usually happen for people. Their ancestors come up with the money for them. They open doors to them, and they transition right into the religion with no problem. Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen when they're in alignment, when their ancestors take them over there. But when people go over there looking for power, that's when it they're not over it. It ain't gonna be right. Okay. But everybody I know where their ancestors took them over there, they develop and progress so quickly because that's where their ancestors wanted them. Hey, ethereal strength. So really think about that. Just because they're soliciting that, it should not be solicited. I don't know. I don't recommend. They need to stop doing that. Okay, they need to stop doing that. That's just my opinion. Y'all can take that or leave it. But for entire communities, rituals has always been a glue that holds people together. In traditional society, rituals was used for healing, conflict resolution, celebrations and rites of passages. When rituals is lost, communities become fragmented, emotionally unstable, spiritually disconnected. When ritual returns, unity, clarity, and collective healing becomes possible again. Group rituals are especially powerful because they amplify energy and strengthen bonds between individuals. Now, I see on here a lot of people is starting to go back out and do these community rituals at the water rituals. They're starting to do the ring shout again, and this brings a lot of healing into our community when we can participate in rituals like that, especially when we can get in healing circles and start healing together and talking about these different things that happens to us. Um, it speeds up the healing process, and it gives the ancestors permission uh, to help us heal in those areas. Have you worked with books of the dead, funerary texts, coffins, texts, penny? No, I have not worked with that. Mm-mm. I have not worked with that. No, I have not. I do say those Catholic prayers. I would tweak them a little bit, and I would say those prayers for my ancestors. And then a lot of those prayers that we got in the book, um, what is the Ancestors Path? I forgot the name of the book, y'all. But I tweak some prayers in that, and then I write my own prayers. But I haven't worked with that. Okay. And so again, being consistent with your ancestors, you say this is what you want to do. You say you want a relationship with your ancestors, and most spirits they're gonna respond to ritual. Okay, an open heart and ritual. Stay open to the message. Document it, test it. They'll your ancestors will show you a sign. The spirits will always show you a sign, but you have to open up your mouth and be consistent with the ritual, especially if you're in our ritual membership. And usually, this membership is for people who are saying, "Hey, my ritual is not working. It's falling. It's falling flat." You get over there with the things that I'm giving you, it should again start building your ashe on your altar. Your ritual should get better because you should have so many options again to amplify your rituals where you should be seeing some results. They sure will show you a sign, okay? And if you are consistent with your ritual, because a lot of people say I've been consistent ritual, you might be doing it for like 3 or 4 days. You may not feel anything. I do say too, add path working to that. I'm just extra like that because if I'm going to do a ritual, this is just me. I find that I get better results. I'm going to do the ritual, and then I'm going to go into path working, and I'm going to communicate with the ancestor of the spirit that I am working with that work, or I'm going into path working to ask that spirit or that ancestor to help me with that work. Then I'm going to document what I picked up in the meditation or path working. Okay. Then after that, I'm going to do a reading. Oh yeah, it's a whole science to me. I'm going to do a reading. I'm going to document that reading as well. Usually, at the reading, this is how you know that your communication is it's right, because the reading again is going to give confirmation to the path working. So if the divination lines up with the path working, again we're confirming that we are getting clear communication from our ancestors, and then we just wait. There's nothing else to do now. We just wait. Now we got the guidance. They told us what to do. We follow the guidance. We do it, and now we wait. More than likely, things are gonna. You might forget about it, and you go back to it, and things turned out just the way they said they was turned out without you even realizing it. Because usually, after we go into the spirit world, we'll go back to our daily activity, and we'll forget our communication. It happens, not your fault, and before you know it, everything has smoothed out just like the ancestors, our spirit guides told us. Okay? But that is the way to confirm that. That's the way I do it. I don't know, it might work different for you. I like safeguards. I like to go in there and say what I'm going to say, go into meditation and talk to my ancestors. When I come out of the meditation, I'm doing a divination to confirm I heard what I heard. What happened is what happened. Okay? And then I'm going to wait. Okay? If that doesn't happen, if I feel funny about it, it's like I'm just not really sure about that path working. I don't feel like I connected with them. I'll just keep doing the ritual over and over again for long. After so long, they're gonna start showing up in your dreams. If you don't have an experience in path working, they're definitely gonna start showing up in your dreams. Okay. If you feel like the path working, you can ask them too, can you come to me in a dream? Can you come to me in a dream? Can you come to me in a dream? They will start pulling up in your dream. But you got to give yourself permission and request with an open mouth you want this to happen. And you will have a dream about them, and it won't be scary at all. It's really comical when you start, when they, the way they come to you, it be so friendly and comical and so unseemly. You have to question yourself, was that them? It be them. Okay, they come to you in the most unseemly friendly way, so it's not going to be scary at all. Okay. After that, I had a dream I was dodging chaos. A week later, I was laid off with 60K severance. I heard that, Pooh. Pooh said I had a dream. Am I am I evil? I don't know what that means. Yes, I am. Okay. Yes, I enjoyed that book too. Secrets of No. And we're going into path working a little bit more next month because we're gonna go into African shamanism. We're gonna cover that topic. We've covered shamanism a lot of times. And so I have to dive back in it again because that's the foundation of all of our spiritual practice. So we're going to dive back into shamanism and path working again next month. So be looking forward to that. We're getting into it again. Okay. And we're going to get into African shamanism. So, and I think I'm going to do a live stream on that too to give more insight on that and bring some things together. But again, I can't tell you enough when you start working Hoodoo, and I come here, I know you say, Miss Penny, we talked about this, but I don't know when you're going to have that aha moments. Some people have aha moments and they say, oh my God, everything just start clicking together. They just understand the magic. They just understand it. And you might have those moments. I can't wait. I love when you guys have a moment. It'll just start clicking together and you be like, oh my God, I say that one thing or I do that one thing. And then all of a sudden, all the flood of knowledge start clicking in your mind and you put it together. Okay. And for some people, they're trying to get the hang of it. They're trying to put it together. Everybody mind works differently. And so that's why I have to talk about things from a different perspective, or you'll see me talk about the topic again. And it takes a minute to integrate a spiritual lifestyle in your life, especially if you haven't healed, you haven't did any self-care, any self-love. It's going to take you a minute. It takes about a year, 6 months to a year to start integrating Hoodoo into your daily life, because this is a way of life. This ain't I feel like it when I want to. This ain't that. This ain't that. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. You hear everybody say repetition, repetition, consistency, like water. Like it's consistent. I get up as soon as I get up in the morning. Sometimes the ancestors wake me up. I know I got to go outside and pour a libation. I know I got to sit down and read my scriptures for protection and all this. I know what I got to do. Those things I know I got to do to start off my day. It's part of my ritual now. It's integrated. Okay. I don't feel right. I don't feel right until I do it. It's just like you leaving your cell phone. It's ritual for you to have your cell phone when you leave the house. You don't feel right when you left the house without your cell phone. Same thing when you have ritual. I don't feel right if I haven't did my prayer, said hello, greeted my ancestors in the morning. I don't feel right. I feel scattered. My mind feel like it's all over the place. Okay, I have to go back and put, greet them, do the prayer, and then my day kind of it smooths out. Having issues with court case, I had a spirit named Big Mama come to me, and she helped me charge dropped. I know that's right, Pooh. Okay, so they will come to you. Your ancestors will come to you too. If they can help you or whatever, they will come to you, but giving them permission to come to you. And a lot of people say, oh, what about the bad ancestors? We are calling on the most elevated, highly evolved ancestors. That's who we're calling from on. We're not calling on ancestors that was raggedy and tore up and wounded and stuff. We don't want to work with them. We love them, but they got to continue their journey and they soul progress over there. We want to work with the ones who want to work with us. That's simple. You said with your man. You don't have to know their name. Now, if you want to know their faces, I do recommend that you go and look at that book, Ancestral Medicine, because there's a path working and meditation that you can do to start going into your inner world and start getting to know these ancestors through your own inner world. Stop looking for people to tell you something about your own ancestors. Sit down somewhere and do the work. Do the work. The answers is there. Especially if you come to me and tell me, I don't know. You don't know. What do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't know? Because you have so many resources here. There's no reason why you should know. You may not know their name. You might know they might start telling you the beginning of their name or the sound of their name. But you again, if you want to know, you have to sit somewhere and be quiet. Okay. If you want to know, you want somebody to tell you about your ancestors. It'd be a trip to me. It's like the common sense, it kind of escaped us that they are already with us. If we sit somewhere, sit some down somewhere and shut up and listen to what's going on the inside of us, then they will reveal themselves. But you want somebody else that don't know you to tell you something about your ancestors. And they've been telling you to sit down and shut up and be quiet, but you won't do it. You too busy. Now I think they can help me talk to you. Let me go over here and get a reading from them that they can help me talk to you. And they've been telling you, no, we really need you to sit down and shut up. We will talk to you. If you would just be quiet and stop following people, we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you, but you won't be quiet. Okay. Pooh said Big Mama connecting with me from a different time. Okay. You want somebody to tell you it doesn't make sense. Listen to what you're saying. And then when they lead you along until you got a curse on you, and then start charging you all types of money, and then start telling you, then you're in a spiritual psychosis. Now you confused. Okay. When the only thing you have to do is like Della said, get somewhere, sit down, and shut up. A lot of these people, honey, just the other day, I seen a girl come down here talking about something. Your ancestors ain't supposed to guide you, girl. You've been up here running your mouth too much already. Your ancestors told you to sit down and shut up. You talk too much, and you don't be saying nothing. That's the problem. Be quiet. You shouldn't have that much to say. A person that's spiritual and talking to these spirits, they don't have a lot to say because a lot of what you want to say, you can't say. So that's how I know you ain't. Be quiet and sit down and be quiet. Okay? You need to be out here. Your ancestor told you that over and over again, but no, you want your ego. You trying to prove a point like you don't know nothing. That's the point too. And to work with these spirits, you can't know everything. You got to be like a child upon these spirits. I'm telling you that. I don't know everything. I'm a practitioner. I don't know everything. Okay? I do know when I need to sit down and shut up. I know that. Okay? Your name is Know Thyself 80. Which ancestors would it be? I thought I was clear on this, but I'm going to repeat this to you again. Your ancestors are in you. You are asking me what ancestors would it be? We call on our most beloved, elevated ancestors. And then we wait. If we want to communicate with them, we wait. We sit down somewhere and we be quiet and we listen to what's coming through. Have you done that yet? Have you got somewhere and just be quiet? Just be quiet. Don't say nothing. Tell the ancestors you want to talk to them, pour libations and sit there and be quiet and take notes to what comes up. No, 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 no. That's okay. That's okay. No, I said I want you to just slow down. Think about it. Think about it, baby, because I know we don't know sometimes. We don't know. We don't know. So I have to slow it down and give it to you that way. Think about what you're asking me. Think about what you're asking me, because these people got us thinking that they can talk to our ancestors better than us. I want you to know that can't nobody talk to your ancestors better than you. Just sit somewhere and be quiet. Sit down somewhere. Ask for a dream. Sometimes be consistent with it. Don't stop. Keep going. Let them know you ain't playing. Pour that libation every day. Tell them you need an answer. Don't stop. See, you have to have some tenacity when you're in the spiritual realm. You can't be no wimp. You got to be a prayer warrior. You got to be a spiritual warrior. Let these spirits know you mean business. You're not playing. You mean to heal. You mean you want a spiritual connection. And you're right here. I think I want to talk to you. I'm not sure. Oh no, they gonna you ain't for real. You keep doing it. I want to talk to you. Please come here now. Now. You said with meaning, they gonna show up. But if you playing and you ain't sincere and you ain't real about what you're doing, they're not gonna show up. If you're not consistent, they're not gonna show up because they're seeing that you're not consistent and you're not real. And no, they're not going to move when you want them to do. This is not no microwave thing. You might have to do this for 3 or 4 days. You might have to do it for a week. Why? Because you ain't never sat down and talk to them and ask for their help. So how they know you serious without some consistency? Okay. Then you listen for the help. And sometimes they're telling you to do stuff that you don't want to do. You're going to have to do some things that you don't want to do. Heal and all that. If your communication is still cloudy, you're not getting any answers, that's because you need to heal. You won't do any shadow work. You need to get rid of some stuff. If your communication with your ancestors is still cloudy, you can't hear anything, it's still muffled and all of that, then you need to heal. Something is going on that's blocking it. Okay, Pooh said I wasn't consistent. They back off. You're not consistent with that. They're not gonna look. Especially you never talk to them and you think they're gonna come right then because you pour one libation. You didn't show that you're consistent. You didn't show that you really meant that you want them in your life. I think repetition helps. It sinks in. Yes. Also, why would our ancestors talk to random people? That's correct. Cosin, I agree. Okay. And then I tell people what their ancestors, I did read the other day, told them what their ancestors wanted to do, and that person didn't want to do it. They was trying to avoid it. And they were muffling up their own ancestral communication, and they knew they needed to do it. They already knew it. it you getting a reading for nothing because you steady trying to get up, do the work. Okay, your ancestor told you what to do, but you think you backdoor something and get an easy way out with a spell or something. No, it don't work like that. Your spell, nothing is gonna work until you get that together. They telling you what to do. You want to do hoodoo and all that stuff and all that, but you don't want to do an ancestor veneration. You don't want to slow down. You don't want to do any healing. You want to do ragged stuff. You want to do hexes and curses and put people in jars and stuff like that. You just raggedy stuff. Then your hoodoo is going to be a roller coaster ride. It's not going to be consistent. There ain't too many good spirits gonna be working with nobody on that lower frequency like that. And I don't know what spirit you're gonna be working with if you keep those thoughts of that lower frequency and vibration like that. I don't know what you're working with. Okay, I'm just telling you. Okay. So again, can you need to be talking to your folks. You need to be trusting your intuition. All of this, when you're able to do this, is again, you start a mediumship mentorship with your ancestors. They start teaching you, you become a medium. Your psychic abilities get better. Your intuition becomes refined when you develop a relationship with these spirits and your ancestors. When you have developed that relationship and you know how spiritual communication works, then they might, allow you or give you consent to go work with Oshun, to go work with Ogun, to go work with Cali. But it ain't no sense in you going to work with Ogun, none of them stuff. You don't even know how to talk to your ancestors. So how you gonna go talk to another spirit? It doesn't make sense. You don't even know what Oshun, none of them saying, because you don't even know what your ancestors saying. So how you gonna go talk to them? Make it make sense to me. Then you want to put some of you want to put stuff on your altar that's not did not be on the ancestor altar that don't need to be up there. Azila Frida do not need to be on the ancestor altar. Oshun do not need to be on the ancestor altar. Aset do not need to be on the ancestor altar. They do not need to be on your ancestor altar. The ancestors altar is for the ancestors. Oshun altar is for Oshun. That's the difference in when people say when you try to call somebody Mr. Smith when their name is Dr. Smith. He gonna say, my name ain't I'm Dr. Smith. That's the difference in between that when you start doing it. I hope this makes sense. Say it again for the boys in the back. Okay? Don't mix them like these are two. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do that. Matter of fact, I don't recommend you start working with no deities with you don't even know how your ancestors talk to you. You don't know no signs, you don't know no spiritual communication. Why would you think that you can go over there and start calling on something else and you don't know your ancestors, you don't know nothing. Stop doing stuff because you think it's pretty. That gets a lot of people messed up. Because you don't even understand this spiritual realm, but you're gonna go over there and start claiming you Oshun child, you your child, you all that. No, you ain't none of that. You need to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. You your ancestors' child. That's what you is first. Do you know them? Do you have a relationship with them? Stop doing it because you think it look pretty, it look fancy, it look trending. Just because everybody do it doesn't make it right. I know you don't want to hear that. I know you don't want to hear, but there's order over here. There is order over here in the spiritual realm. Okay? There's order over here, especially if you're doing hoodoo. Yes, you can work with a variety of deities, but nothing comes before the ancestors. That's even over there in Ifa. Nothing becomes before the ancestors. Even in voodoo, nothing comes before the ancestors. Nothing comes before the ancestors. I need to get that in your head. Some kind, and it trips me out sometimes. People, I have met people say, "Oh yeah, I got an ocean, but I didn't feel so good. I got an ocean altar, but I didn't feel good about my ancestors." You sound crazy because before Oshun was deified, she was an ancestor. Why would she even talk to you and you don't even know your ancestor? You're gonna disrespect your ancestor, step all over them to get to her, and you think she respect you? Are you sick? Look at this. Yeah, that's why they doing it, seekers of no. And your ancestors don't even want you over there with them. I didn't get a chance to choose. I didn't even get a chance to choose. Like y'all doing, setting up stuff like that. What my ancestors did, I ain't even know. Let them choose who you want, who they want for you. That's what they did to me. You'll be surprised who they want you working with. Let them show you. Because you don't know. You don't know. You following people. Stop thinking you know. That's the problem. They can't tell you something because you think you already know and you don't. You don't. Admit that. They can help you better when you don't know nothing. But if you know something already, you don't want no help. Stop following people. Some of us got Oshun altars up there and got now ancestor. Ain't said nothing to an ancestor. And we swear we talking to Oshun, Ogun, all that. We ain't talking to no ancestors. We swear they fight for us too. Ain't an ancestor in sight. And they sure doing it to me right now. I ain't complaining. It wouldn't be no Ogun or Oshun without the ancestors. Go back to the root where it come from. Okay? Got to slow you down. You hearing these things? Ancestors are mighty too. You'd be surprised how mighty they are when you sit yourself down somewhere. You want to work with them, the ancestors will have you working with them in a way you have better results than the person that's initiated in it. If you go through your ancestors. If you ask them to teach you and show you how to work with that deity, especially with the information and resources that we have there, I give you resources, but when you start working with your ancestors, they'll give you more resources and help you how to work with these deities. But no, you think you know. You're gonna do it on your own because you watched a hour video on YouTube. So now you're a specialist at working with Oshun now. Mm-hmm. You initiated now. You're gonna work with Ogun because you saw an hour YouTube video. You ain't got no relationship with no ancestors. But you trust that person on that video that told you all this stuff more than you do your ancestors. I'm gonna tell you what some of y'all doing. I know, I don't know. I got to tell you the truth. Okay. And if you want to, again, you want your practice to grow, you want to be able to have these relationship with these spirits, you're gonna have to slow down and start talking to your ancestors. These spirits, they're interested in you developing your character. They're not gonna help you with anything if you're not gonna fix anything about yourself. That's how they work. You have some spirits that you can't align yourself with them. Your frequency is all jacked up like that. Okay? In order to again, to embody the energies of Oshun, you got to become the energy of Oshun. Are you Oshun? Do you have those characteristics? Do you embody that energy? So you have some work to do. You can't call on nothing, you got to be in alignment with it. And some of these deities and angels are so on a higher frequency, and you won't be able to work within them until you did some healing and character work and align yourself with the energy. That's how this works. I have a question, Miss Penny. It might be a obvious answer, but I noticed in some diasporic traditions they don't mention ancestors. They don't. I don't know what's going on with that. They used to mention that a lot because, again, and I showed you that in the voodoo book, they let you know that they were taking ancestors, the same thing they do in Catholic Church. They sanctify these ancestors. They do the same thing in voodoo. They start deifying them and they become lords. The same thing in the Orisha. Okay, they pass over in a good way. They become deified and become a Orisha. Same thing. They'll say you stay in there long enough, they're gonna tell you that. That's the science to most of our spiritual practices. Most of our ancestors, again, are elevated to deity status. That's why I have to ask the Catholics, where did y'all get y'all religion from? Where y'all get that from? Because our ancestors was doing that first. We know voodoo is older than Catholicism. So where y'all get that from? Because our ancestors went right in there and synchronized that and put their religion right on top. It didn't stop nothing. Didn't stop nothing. They just kept on doing it. So I got to look at the Catholics. Where y'all get that from? Y'all stole that from us too? Because our ancestors went in there perfectly synchronized that and kept on. It didn't stop not one beat. They just put power when they put their ancestors in it, and it moved. The religion worked when they put their ancestors. When they put their ancestors in it, it worked. It didn't. They didn't do no moving until they put their ancestors, their stuff on it. All the saints black. Okay. I don't know why they're doing that. The only thing I could think about it too. Let's look at it too. Is it a religion? When we're looking at the diasporic traditions, most of them have made that a religion. And it could be some stigma behind saying ancestors to the colonizer, saying that some people might have drawbacks from that because a lot of people think ancestral veneration because they convinced us that it was primitive and it was superstition and all that sort of stuff, which was nothing but a lie because y'all sitting up there praying to a man that's dead. Don't even make sense. It don't make no sense. So maybe it could be, some type of marketing strategy. I don't know why they don't mention that, but that's the head of it. They're gonna get you in before they start a ritual or anything. They will be calling on ancestors. They're gonna be calling on them, whether they're the Egungun or the Getty. They're probably going by other names too. So in some of the traditional names, they might be calling the elevated ancestors Getty. They might be calling them Egungun. So they might go by different names, but they're still elevated ancestors, even though they're going by different names. So maybe you're seeing that and you're thinking it's not ancestors, it's ancestors, but they're calling them by a different name. It still mean the same things. They're talking about the most holiest, elevated, saint-like ancestors when they talk about the Egungun and the Getty. Maybe that gave you more insight. Yeah, they give you more insight. They're probably not mentioning them by name, but now they have them categorized as a group of elevated ancestors. And they're calling them by different names, which is the Egungun. Now, we talked about this in the grasping the root of divine power. He kind of talks about that in the book. I forgot his name is Hebrew something, but you should have that book there. He talks about that when he talks about the altar, and he talks about Zerli Frida and the ancestors prayers in that book too. I like that book too. So he talks about that. So when you're hearing them talking about the Getty, no matter which tradition that they're in, they have a name for elevated ancestors in their African traditional religion. They might be calling Getty, they might be called the Egungun, but yet and still the ancestors are being recognized and they may be called by a different name. Okay, I hope that helped you. Interesting. I have to do the research. It's in our book. Just look through our books. They break it down for you, let you know that the Egungun is the elevated ancestors, and the Getty, I think that's in Voodoo. They're called the Getty. In Ifa, they're called the Egungun. If I'm remembering right. And in Voodoo, they're called the Getty. Okay. And so they mentioned it. Go back because we posted books on Ifa. Yeah, yeah, we posted books on Ifa, the practical concepts of Ifa by what's his name? Is it Karade? Something Karade. Very good book because it breaks it down too, where you can see the orishas in your chakras. And it gives you all types of rituals and invocations and prayers in that book to work with the orishas. They talk about the agungun, how to work with the agungun and things like that. So uh, go check that out. Okay, we covered it. We covered a lot of ATRs, and most of them are going to be the same. They're going to acknowledge the ancestors. None of the spiritual practices work without the ancestors. The ancestors is always the foundation to most of our spiritual practices. There's just no way around it. I see people trying to backdoor stuff. I be like, why are you trying to do that? Your ancestors created that, so how you gonna do any of this without them? It just doesn't make sense to me. And maybe I'm like that because I fully understand it, and other people don't. And I can be taken back by people because they looking at me like, what you mean? And I'm like, they don't get what I'm saying. They don't see what I'm saying. They don't understand what I'm saying. So I have to take you back to the beginning and break it down for you. And hopefully, when I break it down to you, fully understand there's no way around. You can't backdoor the ancestors. I mean, they created all of this. So how you gonna do that? They created you. Everything you know, they put inside you. So how this gonna work? So when I see people trying to do that, I'm just like, I just don't see how you gonna do it, baby, because you wouldn't be standing here without them. So what do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying. Okay, just no way. Okay, they're not trying to rule you or anything like that. We're talking about our elevated ancestors, not our dysfunctional raggedy family. Okay, they were sick. Okay, some of our family was sick, and some of us worried about. I don't want to call them my ancestors because my family member, they unkind, they raggedy, they're not nice to me, baby. I don't want that for you. Okay, that's why we call on the elevated ancestors before they got raggedy like that. We gonna call on the ones that wasn't raggedy. Okay, now I don't want you calling on no raggedy people that hurt you. I don't want that for you. That's not what I'm recommending for you. Okay, your job is to heal. Well, we're gonna call out to the saint-like ancestors, the angelic types, the ones that want to show up for you and love you. We're not gonna call on raggedy family. Okay, I don't recommend that you do it. That's why I recommend that people go out first, again, to the older ancestors and work with them they're going to be the ones too that you work more successfully with. Okay. If our ancestors are dead, why would they help us instead of just resting in peace? Rainbow, I think you in the you probably in the wrong section. The ancestors, the dead is not dead. They transition. They don't die. That's again, that's a false belief that you're gonna have to let go of. They're not dead. That's a Western concept. They transition into another form of life. They're not dead. I think you think in their mind when they rest in peace, that means you think they're sleeping for eternity. They're just sleeping for eternity. No, energy never dies. It just transforms. I hope that gave you an answer. Okay, Rainbow Forest. I hope they gave you an answer. Energy never dies. That's a Western concept in their mind. And now they wrote all these books about the afterlife. Have people have crossed over and saw spirits and things like that. And they come out and say, "Oh, the dead is not dead." Really, we already knew that. We already knew. That's why we say they transition. They transition. They go on to the life. We have a celebration of life. Okay, we know they're not dead. We know we're gonna see them on the other side. They not just sitting there with their eyes closed, sleeping. That's probably how you saw the shell when they was in the casket or whatever. But that's not how their spirit is. Their spirit still live on. You should stay in the rainbow forest with that kind of thinking. It's respectfully. Okay. I sat with my father for 3 days in a dream. Oh my gosh, how sweet. He's been gone since 2021. How sweet. I remember my mom come to me. I was not expecting her to come to me, and I had a very dysfunctional relationship with my mom, but she came to me. I couldn't believe it. Now she looked totally different when she passed away, but she made sure she got my attention. And every time I dream about ancestors, I'm always near water. They're always taking me near water. And you know the ancestors are associated with water, and that is no lie. I've always been by water when I think my first encounter I had with a dream, because my grandmother came to me and I was just sitting up like this, and she came to me. And then I dreamed about my auntie. I was so mad at her when she passed away. I was upset with her. I was like, how the hell you gonna die and we ain't gonna make up? We supposed to be the made up, but you gonna die? I know that sounds weird, but I was upset with her. I was like, "Oh my God, how you gonna die on me?" And we didn't even get a chance to squash. I was just so upset. I said, "How the hell you gonna do that punk shit like that? Like, you're so weak." I was like, you're so lame for doing." I was so upset with her. I know that sounds crazy because I wanted us to make up. I just wanted a better relationship with her before she passed away, and I was just so upset that she passed away like that without us making up. And I remember she came to me in a dream. I guess I really felt that intently, and we were really close. And it took her 3 days to patch herself in. She kept taking me to her old house. And I was like, why do I keep going to her old house? And I kept picking up my cousins, but they were grown. They were kids in the dream. And I was like, what is this about? I like, they're grown now. Why am I picking them up and taking care of them? They're grown now. I don't do this anymore. They're adults. And I think like on the third night she showed up, and the look she had on her face and everything, I felt like we cleared some things up when she finally made it. But that was the craziest thing. And she had just passed away. So I'm thinking that she was just learning how to maybe come into my dreams and put things together. That's why it took her so long. But it was a trip. But I dreamed it like I just kept going to the house until finally the third day she showed up at the house. So that's how it worked for me. When I woke up, I saw black smoke come out my mouth and I released whatever was holding me back. Ah. Wow, that's something that's kind of scary. Okay. But that's really how they will show up. Okay. And that wasn't invited, but has she come back or whatever? No. Do I pray for her? Yeah, I pray for her, but I don't call her in my work like that. The same boundaries that I had with her in the physical world, I have the same boundaries in the spiritual world. Okay? We don't have to work with unpleasant ancestors if they were not nice to us. Now, it's a different story. You do have some of them that want to help you for their own development on the other side. You'll have some of them that have to help living family members because they have to get some things right, clear some things on the other side in order for them to progress. And some of their job is to help the family members so they can shift and get progress on the other side. Some of them. My father and I didn't have a good relationship. I hated him. I let go of that hate. Yep. You have to let it go. You have to heal around it as well. And so sometimes they'll come to you and want to specifically help you with certain things if they're trying to do some. I firmly believe that they have to do some type of redemption work over there, depending on how much of a negative impact they had on the family, that they have to again work with certain family members to redeem some of that, to heal some of that bloodline. So I firmly believe that. I say that because I was reading somewhere and they was talking about how grandparents, 90% of grandparents are our guardians. They look over grandchildren. I was like, why is that? You know, uh, and so I by saying it, I don't think I think of is maybe they're correcting stuff that they didn't know they got wrong. So now they have to go back and help, other family members try to evolve out of some of the things they taught us that wasn't right. That's the only thing I can think of, but they said that, but maybe I need to learn a little bit more about that. But it is said that grandparents, uh, many of our grandparents are our guardian angels and guides. They serve as our guardian angels and guides. And maybe that's why too, you see some grandparents, they do stuff for their grandkids that they wouldn't do for us. They're not hard on the grandkids, but they gave us hell. When they raised us, they was a devil in, where there was devils. But you give them some grandkids, they seem like the grandkids can't understand you when you say they used to beat the hell out of you, and your children don't understand because they so nice and sweet to them. But that was a different parent for you to you. So I think they think that they get a chance to do it over too with what they didn't do for us, they do it with the grandchildren. Sometimes you kind of see that with them, So I don't know why they do it, but that's what they say. They say a lot of the grand. Then you have in some. I was looking at some a documentary. I don't forget which place in Africa, what country this was, but they were talking that this guy was saying they don't raise their children. Was that in the book? They don't raise their children. The grandparents raise the children. The parents do not raise the children because the grandparents say that the parents are not qualified or wise enough to raise children. So it's customary for the grandmother or the grandfather to raise the child because even though you had the child, you're not equipped with enough wisdom to raise a child. And then they pass that on when their child have a child, then they parent the child. So, maybe they're on to something with that, but I forgot what country this was. This is what they do. The grandparent parents the child. You don't parent your child. The parents do that. Maybe they're on to something. I don't know. Okay. Maybe I should have had, I think to myself, maybe my grandparents should have been raising them. I don't know. But you have that. And you have in some families, I had a friend of mine's like that. Everybody in their family, her mother and father, they gave them kids to their grandparents. They didn't raise their children, their grandparents raised them. Okay, their aunts and uncles would give them to and the grandparent raised the children. It was normal for that to happen. Everybody gave their kids to the grandparents. I don't know. You see some people do that by nature. Because I got one friend friend of mine's that was like that. And I was like, that's so odd. She said, yeah, my grandparents raised all of us. They didn't raise us. Our aunts and uncles, my mama didn't raise me. My grandparents raised me. My grandparents raised all of us. Okay. So you'll have that sometimes. Sometimes it's customary in some families. Some grandparents do it by, some grandparents, you have them, they want more control over the child than you. They think they know better than you. They'll automatically start spending time with their grandchild. They don't want nobody keeping their grandchild. You get some grandparents like that. I think there's an older wisdom that's coming through when they start doing stuff like that. My grandma is definitely a guide of mine. They'll do that. Okay. Some grandparents have more patience with your child than you do. It's for a reason why they step in and they start doing stuff. They don't want nobody to keep their grandchild. They be a particular type of way. It's some type of wisdom coming in through them, something that they're trying to correct. Long as it's not crazy or whatever, uh, I think we need them at some point, especially if they're stepping up. That makes so much sense. Gives you time to build for your future to pass on the next generation. My grandmother raised me. My mom said she always wanted me with her. I miss her. Okay, they just they have the patience and understanding that now that I go back and being a parent, I needed that because I wasn't qualified to being a parent. You know what I'm saying? They have more experience than we have. They have gained more experience. Okay. And then two, them and the child is kind of on the same level because a lot of people like to look at old people like they don't know what they talking about, but they be looking at stuff that we can't see. And a lot of people think that children don't know what they talking about, but sometimes children can see what we can't see. So you can also see a kind of connection that comes there with the grandmother, with the grandparents and the child as well. Okay, so there's a special relationship that happens with them. Okay. Because as a grandparent, it's almost like they go back into their childlike stage, but they have so much wisdom. But just take a look at that and you tell me what you think about it. But I've sat down and thought about that for a minute and let that process that and talk to my ancestors about it. And I can see that from it could be a variety of ways how that could be beneficial. But then you got some grandparents are just overbearing. So to be careful with that, to make sure you have your boundaries and make sure you're comfortable with it. Okay. One of the most important one of the most important insights is ritual gains its power from sincerity, not complexity. The strength of ritual comes from intention, presence, emotional truth, and reverence. That's what I said. Don't go there with no fluff. Don't go there with no fluff. Now you can play that capping and shucking and jiving with these people on the internet, but you can't do that with no spirit. So I don't think you can do that there. I can actually see the benefit in that as well. So don't come there with that. They're looking at you, they're looking at the energy. Now you can put on a costume with these people and pretend and all that here, but you can't do that with a spirit. You might when you're standing in front of a spirit, you're doing ritual, they looking at you butt naked. They're looking at pure energy. So ain't no sense in going there thinking that you can outsmart a spirit. They can see when you ain't got no intentions on being right. You just gonna be ragged and all that. They can see all that. Okay. A single candle lit with a sincere heart carries more power than an elaborate ritual done without spirit. Hoodoo traditions have always understood this. The most effective ritual often use simple tools: water, fire, dirt, prayer, petitions, and a home altar. These simple elements work precisely because they allow spiritual energy to move directly without obstruction. Don't think you got to go out and buy this fancy stuff, these fancy herbs and all this other stuff. It can be simple. You don't need to go out and buy all this simple stuff. You can get our ancestors didn't have the privilege of using it. Matter of fact, the most simple that you keep your magic. the more powerful and effective that it be. And when you first start out doing any work, they're going to have you doing simple stuff. They might have you working with one or two herbs in different ways. They might probably want you to do draw work. Maybe you don't know your magic. Now, what I found with this, if you're the type to say, Miss Penny, I don't know what element I need to be working with. What's my magic? Usually, if I can look at your birth chart, if you book a Hoodoo spiritual blueprint with me and I can look at your birth chart, 80 to 90% of the time, you're going to find that you already resonate. You already been doing some of that elemental magic that's in your birth chart. It's going to give you, you're going to find that you're doing it, or you're going to find that you do it and you're going to get results with it. You're probably already attracted with working with water, working with dirt, working with plants. You're probably already doing this. You got some indication. But usually if I can look at your chart, I can you can it'll start giving you some type of indication of what shadow work you need to be doing, and what type of work that you're going to be more effective at, what element you need to be working with. Okay? So that I'm using, and people, and what people I found, people say I was already doing it. I get a lot of people say I was already doing it, Miss Penny. I was already doing this work. I was already doing that. I'm like, hey, this confirmation, you're on the right track. So now that you know this now, now you know the healing work you need to be doing, and the type of magic or the type of rituals you need to be doing to tap into uh to the spiritual realm. You know where it's at now. You know what you should be doing. So I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, Miss Penn, I was doing a lot of that stuff. This is just confirmation. I'm doing it right." Some people are wowed how accurate those readings are, those chart readings are when I give it to them. And then some of them are baffled when they think I'm not even nowhere close to what I need to be doing. That's fine. That means you got work to do. You got some alignment work to do. You got some better choices to make. You know what you come here to do. Now it's time to start fixing some stuff and healing some stuff. You're not going to make it very far in magic if you're not willing to do shadow work and heal, because it brings on greater awareness when we do that. And by you refusing to heal and all that, it's saying you want to stay stuck. And nothing about, this magic, everything is always moving, always growing. Everything is always in motion. And if you standing still, you're gonna be stuck. And if you want magic to move, you got to be willing to grow. You understand me? You see how I go together? See how I go together? You got to be willing to evolve. You got to be willing to expand your consciousness and become more and more self-aware. It all works together. I don't care. You can try to get yourself out of this if you want to, but you got some scoundrels that try to do that, and then they go to conjuring, and now they're working with a spirit, and then they come here and they vomit all types of vile, crappy stuff, and seeing people got curses and stuff on them, and they say all kind of ludicrous stuff that don't make no sense. People try. They try to tell us that shortcut. It's actually people that they would rather keep their wounds. They would rather keep cursing and hexing and all of that. They would rather keep being petty. They love the pettiness. Okay? You got some people that love that. They want a way around. You got some people that want a way around of doing the good thing, doing the right thing. You got people to come to you all the time. They want to read, and all the time you done told them what to do. But instead of doing, they come back 2 weeks later for the same reading, and it's still raggedy, and they ain't changed nothing. That's what happens here. Now, spirituality has become a trend, and y'all, a lot of people saying a lot of new age crappy stuff. I mean, it's got so desperate now. We got Chat GPT giving speeches. People get on and make videos asking Chat GPT questions. It's supposed to be a tool. It's supposed to be helping you write different things and things like that, and helping you get work done. It's not supposed to be really. You had one lady saying she using chat BT to talk to her higher self. You using something outside of you to communicate with something on the inside of you. Does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to you? You again, we again, something on the outside of us. We're gonna ask Chat GPT to connect us with our higher self that dwells on the inside of us. Then we telling people how to crack the code to Chat GPT so we can talk to our higher self. I'm not making this up. I wish I was. Okay. Please, people, I just see so much crazy stuff and I'm just like, God, say it ain't so. Say this is not happening. Say we haven't come to this. Please tell me we haven't come to this. Please. And somebody is falling for that again, that crazy crap. Just falling for it. You know, I know it ain't at your fault, beloved, but it is your responsibility to discern and to make better choices. To really sit down and think about stuff. I think we want stuff to happen so bad or whatever, we can fall for the fluff and the hype and it get us the hijack and it get us all messed up. They think Chat GPT has awareness and that it is a lie. Well, I don't know. Now you totally going outside of yourself to find answers that you can only find in yourself. That's the only answer I have for that. You're avoiding yourself once again, and you're projecting your consciousness out when you need to be looking on seeing what's on the inside of you. Nothing is more important on the outside of you than the inside. Nothing is going to really reflect what you want to see because you're the generator. You're projecting your experience with your thoughts, with your feelings. We've already come to that understanding. We have slowed you down. Occultists, the scientists already say this. So when you start changing, you start choosing how you want to feel and get control of your thoughts, that is when the magic happens. You're creating the magic again through your astral light, through your intentions, through your focus. You're doing this. So nothing is going to change until the inner world change. We have already set down and help you understand that. And just because we're saying this is a anybody that is practicing any type of magic, they understand this basic foundation. The only people don't understand this is the people that don't understand magic. That's trying to do it and don't understand why it's not turning out the way they want it to turn out. Okay, you should not, you don't understand the mechanisms of this. Don't pick it up. Don't pick it up because you don't understand it. Okay. And that's one reason why we're going through this again, you guys. We will be going through cleansing and protection magic again. You should have that down packed before you start picking up anything. We should be consistent at ancestral veneration, shadow work, protection work, and cleansing work before we start picking up hoodoo in a way to do any magic. We should understand it first. When we have mastered that, again, being consistent in that, then we can probably ask our ancestors what kind of work should we be doing. But before that, I don't recommend it. Okay? Because a lot of you started and you cross yourself up because you don't understand the science of it and how it works. And you didn't mean to cross yourself up. You just didn't understand how it works. So if you want to work and you want a good understanding and foundation of it without all the fluff, without somebody trying to show you a spell, because that's not what you need. You don't know, you don't need that. Somebody telling you that's what you need, but that's not what you need. That's not going, no, no. Okay. So I slow you down and helping you understand that. And then when you understand it, and you understand how your magic work, your ancestors guide you, you'll start putting things together and it will work. And it'll be something nobody, I have never seen anyone do. Okay. Ancestors got a funny way of showing you stuff nobody else have seen before. They got their own way how they want you to do stuff. It may not look like nobody else's. Don't expect it to. Okay. You will see a lot of spells and a lot of workings on there, over there in a lot of our resources. But what I tell you, that is only a format or a template to help you work your own work. Because when you get done with it, it needs to look like you and not the next person. It should be your signature, your vibration and frequency, and then how you going to work it. Are you going to ask your ancestors to help you with that? Are you going to ask the angel to help you with that work? Are you going to ask a saint to help you with that work? Or will you just only be using your ashe to try to get the work done? These are questions that you need to ask yourself, and stop doing things on the whim, because I guarantee you the people that's showing you spells on here, they're working with some type of spirit. And then you trying to do it and you're wondering why it's not working, because that had a vibration in the frequency of, they were working with a spirit, their ancestor, somebody. It might be a sigil in there, it might be a seal in there, you never know. That's why I don't recommend people come here and show their work, because that work could be done with the spirit or somebody else. You don't know. It may not work for you the way it worked for them. All spells are not one size fit all. That's why when you read these books, they're going to introduce you to saints, they're going to introduce you to angels. The work is nothing but a symbol and a formality to the spirit to get it done. It helps you work better with those elemental spirits that's in the work. They're guiding the work for you. I don't know anyone who's doing work, doing a spell without some sort of spiritual assistance. Even when the elements in the spell, you're dealing with plant spirits, the water on your altar, water spirits, the candle that you burning, fire spirits. This ain't no way around it. And you're gonna be thanking those herbs and candles and fire and water to help you in your work. These are the elemental energies that make magic. And if you don't have a connection, a relationship with these elements, not a lot is going to be moving. And most of the elements, when we connect with our ancestors, most of our ancestors are associated with the elements. We got water spirits in voodoo, hoodoo, and the Orisha, Ifa. Water spirits. We got water spirits there. We got plant spirits. We got High John the Conqueror. You're gonna be working with a spirit. You think you ain't, but you is. I got to slow you down and get you thinking that, because you shoving roots and herbs on candles. You don't even know. You ain't even thanking the spirit, doing any reverence, and then you just shoving stuff because you see somebody else doing it. Now you're gonna dash a whole bunch of glitter on there. You don't know what you're doing. You don't understand the element. We don't just be shoving stuff in there. We slow it down. We give reverence. We're constantly communicating. Every herb and stuff we're picking up, we're communicating with them. We're asking them for their help and giving them gratitude in our work, because we know every tool, everything we pick up on that altar is alive, and it is a spirit working for us. So the things that we say, the things that we do matter. I don't care what you're seeing up here. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. This is what you ain't seeing off camera. I'm telling you what you don't see off camera. Finally, ritual creates accountability with spirit. When you show up consistently at your altar in prayer, in communion with your ancestors, spirit begins to show up for you. Ritual establishes a living relationship between the practitioner and the invisible world. It teaches discipline, spiritual maturity, and reciprocity. Spirit responds to those who respond to spirit. It's a two-way street. Okay? Ritual has to be done. If you're in our ritual membership, that's why ritual is so important. If you're over here, that's if you're over there, that's what we're trying to get you to do, get more consistent at ritual. I want you to have the experience of having more ancestors pull up on you in your dreams and in your rituals. I want you to have that more experience that with the saints and with the angels, so you can have that initiation. Okay, I want that for you. That's why we're doing it. That's why I'm telling you to crank it up. If you're consistent like you want, like you're supposed to be, you're going to have an experience. I guarantee you that. I guarantee it. I know you're going to have an experience because the spirits got to answer you. As long as you stay consistent and you're doing what you're supposed to do, they're going to show up. And if they ain't showing up, then you come to me. We're going to get the prime because I'm going to come up with the answer. It's some that we missing or some we ain't adding there. It happens every time. If you tell me, Miss Penn, I did this, I did this, I did this, they ain't coming, I'm gonna go right back. We're gonna sit down. I'm gonna get the prime. We're gonna come up with an answer. It's something small you missing. It's something. We're gonna come up with something. It's something that's being skipped. Okay? Because it's gonna happen. Now that I can guarantee you. And I'm not I don't talk to people, I talk to spirits. I don't care what people saying. You understand me? I don't care what these people saying. I'm talking about spirits. I don't care what these other people saying. I'm telling you about spirits. Okay. Now I want you to have an experience. You say you want this. Now, if you don't want to communicate with no spirits and you don't want to practice hoodoo, don't come over here because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you. That's what I'm gonna give you. Okay. And you scared and all that stuff, don't come over here because that's what this is. Okay. This is what your ancestors was doing. Okay. And if you think this supposed to happen overnight and you just started it that, then you probably don't want to be over here because they don't work like that. Don't no magic work like that. Don't care what you saw on the Disney TV. It don't work like that. Okay. In essence, ritual is communication, healing, remembrance, and transformation. It is how we speak to spirit and how spirit speaks back. When ritual is present, everything in a practitioner's spiritual path becomes stronger, clearer, and more aligned. Ritual is the foundation of magical practice, the engine of spiritual development, and the doorway through which ancestral wisdom returns. It is the heartbeat of magic. Cannot have without it. You got to be opening your mouth, going to your table, your altar, being consistent, sitting there listening. You have to go with a pen and paper. If you do automatic writing, do that. But I highly recommend for you to start again doing breath work and doing meditation because that's you're gonna get a lot of. I can't tell you how priceless path working is when it comes to ancestral communication. They did it right there in front of your face on Black Panther when that boy went into the ancestral realm drinking that stuff. They showing you. They telling you with Inception. And then they got you playing these video games and these virtual realities. They sitting up there telling you where it is. They using your inner world and selling it back to you as something counterfeit. Okay. So this is why ritual is important is consistency. So if you find that your stuff is not working, you're not communicating with your ancestors, it's muffled and all that, this is a couple of things that can be happening. One, you're not consistent. Two, you ain't doing the shadow work and healing that you need to be doing. So your communication is muffled, it's not clear. Your magic, nothing is moving. Start healing. Stop being raggedy. Stop loving to be petty. Stop that. It ain't cute. I don't care how cute people make it. It's ugly in the spiritual realm. Stop doing it. You're wasting a lot of energy doing that. Okay? Do the shadow work. Okay? Be consistent. What is your intentions? Your intentions got to be real. Is this some shallow stuff? Because you might go there and say, assassinate $10,000. No, you don't. You need to heal your mind. We're not giving you nothing till you heal yourself. Ain't gonna do no good to give you $10,000 and your mind sick. We're not giving you nothing. You gonna mess up the money because your mind is sick. No, we're not gonna do that. What you really need to be asking for is healing, and sometimes that happens. You think you need this, but really you need to be healed. And keep yourself open for that. Don't be pissed off, because usually after we do the healing, they give us what we want. They give us what we ask for, but by that time, we don't even want it no more. We feel so much better without it. Okay. So a lot of the things that you're going to be gaining, again, is better character. And forming better character brings on physical blessings. It's a byproduct. Anyone not clear on that? I know no one has explained that to you, but a lot of people think you could have you thinking that you can go to these spirits for things all the time to help you with things. They're not really they're not really concerned with that. They're going to do that for you in the first place. They're very concerned about your healing, your spiritual, emotional, and mental well-being. You seems to get reward when you tend to focus on that. When you focus on that, you get the other stuff with it. I don't know why it worked like that, okay? I'm sorry. It just worked like that. You worried about a car, but they say, no, you don't need no car. You anxious. You need to work on that. You think you needed something else when it's something, again, on the deficient on the inside of you that you need to work on. And usually when you work on that one thing, what you petition for, it'll come. It's like trading one for another. Okay, they're not interested so much in material things. They're looking at your energy, they're looking at your character. Okay. You're welcome, God. It's real AA. So don't think because you get over here you don't have to do it. You don't just ask spirits. They're really not gonna be messing with you if that's what you're coming to them all the time about. You're not gonna see a lot of progress from them. That's gonna let them know right off the bat, look, mm-mm. This person ain't trying to cultivate compassion. This person is not trying to cultivate kindness. This person is not trying to heal. They don't see their mother wounds. They are so focused on a material thing. This person is not trying to uh really understand who they are and look at what they have already. They're not interested in developing and becoming the abundance that they want. So you asking for abundance, they're going to help you become abundance. They're going to help you create more abundance. So you looking for them to do it for you, but they're going to develop you in a way that where you create your own abundance and you tap into your own infinite abundance by tapping into your own creativity, talents, and gifts. So they help you realize that you create the abundance. You are the abundance. See, they shift your whole way of thinking too. Sometimes our thinking be messed up. And so when they start shifting you, healing your mind, then abundance, prosperity begins to flow because you're looking at money, prosperity, and abundance totally different. I hope that made sense. And once you get in alignment, they say, okay, you're in alignment with abundance and prosperity. They creating the thing, they're doing the thing. Okay, so let's shift the energy and tip things in her favor, and let's start bringing some customers her way or their way because they have been doing the work. They get it now. They get that they are the abundance. They're operating on a frequency that attract abundance. They are walking in abundance. They understand that they are the frequency of abundance. So now they are lined up with it. But it ain't gonna help you if you want them to do all the work and you don't think you got to work on your mind and your emotions and your feelings. That don't work like that. I'm sorry, it don't. Okay, I wish it did work another easy way. Don't you think I'd have tried? Think I done got mad and pissed off and said, "Oh, it's this so damn hard? Y'all make it so hard." Yeah, I had the same conversation with them too. I had a tantrum. I threw a tantrum. I was mad too. But guess what? I had to sit my ass down and do it the right way because that's the only way to be done. I'm so sorry. I was mad just like you because the folks will sit up here telling me a damn lie like you until they set me down and say, "Girl, you got this wrong. You better sit yourself down somewhere. You don't know nothing because you think you know, you don't." Okay? And I'm sorry. I know they telling y'all that, and I'd be pissed off if I was you. I'd be pissed off too. I was too. Okay? But you gotta do it this way. Okay? This is the way they want it to be done. I have no control over that. I tried to do this the short way too. Melanin 67 laughing at me. Humans, that's what we want. We always want the easy way, don't we? Don't we? We always want the easy way. We love when people, oh, it's just do that and do that. Yeah, we all love that. We always want to take the path of least less resistance, don't we? Okay, until we find out we are our biggest problem in our magic. We're not in alignment with it. We have to again refine our energy. We have to start getting in alignment with it. We do have some stuff to do to get it to work. No, it's just not all on them. Okay, I know, Gary. I didn't like it either. And that's why I don't recommend people come up here and tell people that. And then them poor babies, they be like, "My stuff didn't work. You told me that and it didn't work." I see them sometime in the comments. I did that and it didn't work. Stop showing them stuff. Stop showing people stuff when you're not going to explain it to them. And then blame it on them because they don't understand. Don't do them like that. Stop showing them stuff. If you're not going to give them full disclosure about this, please don't show them something. If they don't understand the working mechanism and science of magic, please don't show them because you're gonna have them thinking that you told them something wrong, or they did something wrong, or they didn't do it right, and it could be a series of all of that. But when it all boils down to, they didn't understand how it worked. That's why we shouldn't be showing it to them if they don't understand it. Okay? It'd be different if they were in your community and y'all were all in the community together and you showed them something, and because you know that they understand it. Okay, they understand the working mechanism is. If you've been in the hoodoo community together, yeah, show them that because you know they understand the working mechanisms of it. But just to the general public like that and trying to, some of these people are desperate and they would try anything and they don't understand the working mechanism. So they're just gonna go about what you tell them. Okay. And that's why I don't recommend, showing the general public this kind of stuff if they don't understand the science of magic. And with hoodoo, you're going to work. This is not magic because you're going to be somewhere getting up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You might be fasting. You might have to do baths 3 or 4 days in a row. You might have to do all of it in layers to get the results that you want. So it ain't no one hit a quarter thing over here. And if you want it to happen, you want stuff to happen fast, then the magic is not for you. No magic is for you for that matter. No magic is for you. Facts. Listen to Miss Penny, people. No magic's gonna happen fast. It's take you to get somewhere and sit down. And matter of fact, the more relaxed you are, the more you can get that anxiety and you can regulate your emotions, the better and faster it's going to work. The more you can feel your magic, you can feel abundance. If you want money, you should be walking like money, talking like money. I am money. You should be in that frequency like that. I want healing. I'm gonna walk in healing. I'm gonna do things that make me heal and all that stuff. You got to be in that frequency. Not talking about it, but you're gonna have to be about it and walk in that frequency and live in that frequency. Okay. Will it happen overnight? The more you can get control of that, because that's this what hangs a lot of us up, is we have a lot of, and it ain't our fault because we've been through a lot of trauma and we got a lot of programs on top of us over there. They start to program us as soon as we come out the womb, and then they send you to school, they send you to church. I mean, you just getting programs everywhere you go. Then they give you a president, and then they give you a governor, and then they just give you shit you ain't even asked for. Yes, me, it pisses me off. 'Cause I never asked for no president. I never asked for none of this damn thing. And then you tell me I have to do this, and I just was born here, and you shoved me into this. You know, I'm sorry. It kind of pisses me off every time I think about it because, and then had a nerve to tell me I was born in some sin that I ain't even asked to be born in. It's just, we have to unpeel all of that stuff. Okay. So once you start slowing down and you can regulate again your emotions because they love messing with our emotions. They post stuff and they love to get emotional responses, reactions out of us. A lot of free feeding and energy harvesting goes on with that. So until you get control of your emotions and learn how to regulate your nervous system, uh you're not really going to really be tapping into it the way you want to. So that's why I recommend that you do some real healing. Okay, regulate your emotions so people can't be easily trigger you, where you can slow down and think about it. Even when you do feel yourself getting triggered, you can walk away so you won't be feeding it energy. And a lot of us, they use this on social media. What you think about Cardi B did such and such and such, that everybody get their opinion, and they get very emotionally invested in that. People take that stuff personally. You're giving that energy. There you go, pouring your energy into something else. Same thing about that election. People get very much. These people are harvesting your energy. These people, that damn vote, don't none of that work. They're harvesting. They are getting, again, they're harvesting the energy from the emotion. That's what they're doing. That's the ritual for. Why do you think at the concert they get everything going? They got to get your emotions going because, again, they do a lot of rituals at these concerts because they're harvesting the energy, what, through your emotions. What is emotions called? Motions is moving. It's moving. That's the way they can get the energy. They got to tap into your emotions. That is the best way to get energy from people, is to get a reaction. If you're controlling their emotions, you control their mind, you control their emotions, you can take their energy. Do we get it now? And they have y'all talking about different topics too, because they know they triggered you. What did you think about what's the name did? Then y'all get in no comments and you get emotional. They're feeding off that. Okay. They're feeding out there, so it's just slow down. And once you start slowing down, you will see how many people that trigger you on purpose just to get a feed off you. And some of them be your family members and your friends. They've been feeding off purposely manipulating you through your emotions. Because a person that can get you to react controls you. When you start responding and setting boundaries, that's when you start losing friends. When you stop reacting and just start responding, you give it thought. Usually, the energy upgrades happen. That's when nobody don't want to be your friend no more. Nobody should be liking you. I'm telling you from the get go. Nobody's gonna. If you think when you heal and all this, the people gonna love you. They just gonna love you. They just gonna love you. You're gonna be a better you. No, they ain't. They're gonna despise you. They're gonna get the hell away from you. You're gonna be losing all types of people. You're gonna become enemies with cousins, with friends. Yeah, all that's gonna happen. If it's not happening, then I know you're doing something. Something ain't going right. You ain't doing something right. If everybody love you when you start doing this journey and you friends with the same people that you was when you first or something, I'm gonna start looking at you sideways, be like, "What you doing? Is you people pleasing? What you doing? What you doing? Is you really doing the work? Because anything that I know you're doing the right, because you're gonna be coming to me crying, Miss Penny, I ain't friends with them no more. No, nobody talk to me no more. I'm just all by myself." I'm like, that's normal. You be like, "What? Yeah, that's what you asked for. Ain't that what you asked for?" You asked for to be around safe around people that love you, that really was sincere about you, right? Okay. Them they wasn't it. Well, I'm by myself. You was born by yourself. You was born, you came out one at a time by yourself. You gonna probably go on the ground by yourself too. Nobody, I don't see too many families, no family caskets. I don't see that too many of those. I'm not saying they don't have them, but I don't see too many people being. Most people got their own life. They come in, they live it, and then they go on the ground or wherever they're going by themselves. So yeah, that's what that is. It ain't no light and love over here. You think everything's gonna be in light and love. No, sometimes it look ugly, sometimes it hurts. It's here to grow you. And if this ain't what you want, don't get over here because it's gonna grow. You're gonna grow up. And you're gonna it's gonna be some pain with it. And with growth comes with a little pain. And if that's not what you want to be a people pleaser, you want to be a run over, you want to keep on, letting people harvest your energy like that, stay over there where you at. Okay. I was born myself, spirits literally reconnecting me and a person that adopted me as her grandmother. Oh, I was born by myself, spirits literally reconnecting me and a person that adopted me as her grandmother. Oh, that's sweet. Okay? So don't think that everything gonna get peaceful over here. Now everything gonna get hectic. Them spirits go crazy when you start to ascend spiritually. The people that you thought that was your friends and all that stuff, all them people want nothing just keeping hindering you from waking up when you do wake up. Them spirits get mad as hell. Expect for spiritual warfare to go down. That's why I get you right to doing them cleansing and protection work. You're gonna get that crunk up immediately. You're gonna get that crunk up immediately. I'm gonna introduce you to that first. I want you doing that first before you reach anything. I want you doing ancestral veneration, cleansing, learning, perfecting protection. Getting that day together first. Because those spirits, they act the damn fool when you start to elevate. They don't want that for you. Woke people want you to stay with them. What person, if usually when somebody try to level up in the neighborhood people get mad at you because you trying to do better. Now you think you better than everybody else. The same thing happens here. It don't change. The same thing gonna happen over here. We gonna get mad at you. I'm posting it again. I'm posting it again. I'm going over that again next month. We're going over Hoodoo cleansing again. That Miss Ida book is good. So we're doing it again. I'm reposting again so nobody say, well, Miss Penny, I didn't know we had to cleanse. Let me go over it again. Because when I see you're forgetting that, I'll go over it again. I'll talk about it 2 or 3 times so you can keep it up in there because I know you need to integrate it. You need to understand it. And so I'll speak on it again. So if you see me repeating something again, it's because I know you need it again. I know you need it again. I don't have no problem with it. Look at it again so you can thoroughly understand what's going on. Oh, I've been under spiritual warfare since conception. Tried to keep me from coming here. Okay, so you gonna be under spirit. You might as well to get ready for that because it's a light, a certain energy signature that you're gonna give off, and some people are not gonna like you. They're gonna just not gonna like you because they look at you. Okay, you're gonna be vibrating at different frequencies. You're just gonna have some people that you that don't like you, and then you're gonna have people that you just don't like. Your ancestors something inside you, and it's gonna be for a good reason. You probably never know why. You don't feel comfortable around them. You're just not gonna feel safe around them. Okay, and it just happens. You're gonna know something is off with their energy or something. They just don't vibe with them. That's fine too. But expect that's gonna happen. You're gonna have some spiritual warfare going on. So you need to learn that, no protection and all of that. You need to know how these spirits look in people, how they react. Because these spirits are using people. Okay. And you need to know how that looks. And if you don't understand how they look, you don't know how to discern, you're not gonna know how to protect yourself. And so I go over that thoroughly with you to help you understand that. Okay. Let you know how it manifests on the physical realm. So I've covered everything on rituals. I'll be coming back here. I think we have a meeting, a shadow work meeting, a healing meeting. We have, is that Later on, later on tomorrow, we have a healing circle meeting in our Know Thyself members. So I hope you guys show up for that. I know you guys had a holiday, and I scheduled it after the holiday for a reason, because usually the holidays, it's a living hell, and that's the time that we experience many challenges. So I know you'll come into the meeting need to do a whole bunch of venting. So I scheduled it on that. I scheduled it like that for a reason, because Thanksgiving can be something else when you get around family members and things like that. We don't remember how toxic they are or how they invade our boundaries until we have to come in contact with them. Okay, and it can leave us kind of heavy. So I scheduled that meeting around that time so you can come in there and share your thoughts. We've started on our part two of the Know Thyself. So open up that workbook and go into part two. Okay. Go and start looking at part two. If you want to answer some of those questions, bring those questions in there. Um, and I'll probably be coming here because you got a lot of stuff to cover, a few things to cover going into next month. So if anything does come up, and if it's something in our community, I'm gonna try to post a live there first in our community before I go live stream here on YouTube. That way you guys will have a know. Okay, like I did here recently. I think I post this live stream in our community. So you guys will have that immediate access to this discussion. Yeah, sometimes they have, you already know when to get out the way. When they pass away, you already know they ain't for you. Okay. All right, you guys, thank you for being here. And if you're looking for a reading from me, astro reading, DM me your birth, your time, your date of birth. I mean, your date, your time, your place of birth, your email address if you're on TikTok. Let me put my email here. And I think I'm going to post some the services here in the post, so you guys will know everything I do. I think I'm gonna put it in a post, um, so you guys will know the service I have available. Okay, but I think they're already pinned on TikTok. I don't think I have it here on YouTube. Okay, you guys, love you guys. See you guys soon. Talk to you soon. If there's another topic that comes up, the ancestors put on my heart that comes up, I will post it in our community first, give you a heads up before I go live stream here. Okay. All right, you guys. Love you. Take care.